team they beat to it. Their fierce, total footballing rivals, the Netherlands, a team fronted by Johan Cruyff. Beckenbauer shocked the world when in 1977, aged just 32, he retired from international football to go and play for the New York Cosmos. The world went mad, but when you're going to go and be teammates with this guy, I mean, yeah, fair. Beckenbauer did come back to the West Germany national team, but as a manager in 1986. His task? Get through the World Cup without embarrassment. But they reached the final and only lost to Argentina and their iconic captain, who, let's be honest, at the time was unstoppable. Beckenbauer returned for one final World Cup at Italia 90, where he got his revenge. West Germany beat Argentina in the final, and Beckenbauer became, at the time, only the second man after Brazil's Mario Zagallo to win the World Cup both as player and manager. So across 5 World Cups as a player and manager, he got a bronze medal, 2 silvers, and lifted the cup twice. That smile tells you everything you need to know.
Well, a very good morning and welcome to the World Cup Weekend Sports Breakfast here on talkSPORT. Happy Sunday morning. I am the third place playoff of Weekend Sports Breakfast presenters, Will Gavin, and alongside me, the former Chelsea and Republic of Ireland striker, Tony Cascarino.
Good morning.
We'll discuss exactly what that means momentarily. So England, let's put air quotes around this, turned it on to finish their World Cup in style, with Jude Bellingham putting the cherry on top of the cake.
Takes it on the outside, comes in field, brilliant from Bellingham. Oh, wonderful from Jude Bellingham. That is why he is one of the best in the world.
I will bring you all the reaction to that and ask the question, has that changed your opinion of Thomas Tuchel? Harry Kane spoke with talkSPORT's Faye Carruthers and said it was the mentality that won them this game.
Everyone's still trying to process what happened the other night, and you have this game in between that, it's not ideal for both teams, but I think the team with the best mentality won today.
Well, can England only do it when the pressure is off? Because they talk about mentality. That's how it certainly seems this morning. And elsewhere, Argentina face Spain in the final game of World Cup 2026. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank knows what he wants the result to be.
I want Spain to win after seeing how Argentina beat England and also 4 years ago against the Dutch.
I think I speak probably for the majority of English fans when I say Viva España today. We are desperate to see Spain come away with the victory. So with the third place playoff out of the way, we'll look ahead to the big one. Argentina-Spain in New York, live on talkSPORT from 8 p.m. this evening. And we want to hear from you. Can the third place playoff be the best game of a tournament? Do you actually buy into anything that England did last night? Was it just because France were dreadful? Was it mentality from England like like they claim? Was it the result they deserved, like Bukayo Saka claimed? 03717 22 3344 is the number to call. You can text 81089. This is the World Cup Weekend Breakfast on talkSPORT. Morning, Cass.
Good morning, Will.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm really good. But obviously, watching last night and having a look back this morning, who would have even dreamt that 6-4 would be the scoreline in
A madness.
the third and fourth place game?
A 10-goal quote-unquote thriller, an absolute candy floss
And you see
of a
the
game of
chances
football.
that were missed as well.
Oh, I was looking back over my notes this morning. So I watched the game live, probably stupidly last night, considering my alarm was set for 3:45 this morning or whatever. But I watched it live last night, and I went back over. My notes from when I'm watching a game are often an absolute madness when I read back over them. And I'm like,
Are you on little bits of paper or is it a big sheet?
No, I actually, weirdly, I WhatsApp them to myself. So I write them in my phone as I'm watching and as there's breaks in play, etc. And one of the things I wrote is England could have scored 6 in the first half. France could have scored 9 in the second half.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a absolute madness of a game of football. But is it one you take in any way seriously?
Well, it's hard to... Could you imagine that game and that result being in the tournament as a semi-final game?
Absolutely not.
That's just not going to happen. So I mean, watching the performance with England against, Argentina, we talked a lot about it yesterday, and what England didn't do. And then we watch the next game and England do everything they should have done, as in the type of players to get into space and run behind the opposition's defence. England done it all the time. It was like, well, you didn't see that once in the last 35 minutes of a game against Argentina. And then every, minute and a half, 2 minutes, you saw someone breaking from, wide areas into space and getting behind, the French back four last night.
Yeah, I've got to tell you, this is a weird place to be at 6 a.m. after I've watched a 10-goal thriller. And there's a lot of people are going to sit here and talk about what a joy and how entertaining it was. And, I'm sure all the casual fans who have come to football for the World Cup, the people who have watched, 7 to 10 games, all the new fans in America will have watched that and been absolutely thrilled by it. I was just pretty angry after it all.
Some people will be. I mean, there'll be, if we want to, dissect it to a degree of, how did Rice play so well last night?
How did he play for 100+ minutes?
Okay.
And play so well?
And then you've got Saka, who really, no part against Argentina. And then watching Saka be really lively, look like wanting the ball. Even before he scored, he scored a goal that was chalked off. And there were others. And I was confused by... And look, I get it. There is not the same amount of pressure on a World Cup semi-final as there is in a knockout third and fourth place game. There's just not even they're not even comparable. So you have to take that into
Isn't that part of the problem though, Cass? Isn't the fact that England can show that much endeavour, that much front foot?
Well, how much
have
would
6
you...
players attacking the box, have Declan Rice making those driving runs, have all of that brilliant football because the pressure's off.
Okay.
And then after the game, Bukayo Saka turns around to Faye and says, as a group, that's what we deserved to finish the tournament strong. Listen, we'll get more into it. Let's hear how it sounded last night as we asked the question, has this been a successful campaign for Thomas Tuchel's side on talkSPORT?
If second is nowhere, then how should we feel about the possibility of finishing third?
No one can understand what it takes to play again 72 hours after that defeat.
Declan Rice cuts it out now, drives forward, hits the corner! Oh, what a goal! And they're ahead within 3 minutes.
And the perfect start for England.
Eze now plays it forward to Saka! 4-0! This is absolutely incredible.
England have been absolutely first class.
Everyone's still trying to process what happened the other night, and the team with the best mentality won today.
Still that we have a next level to reach.
Now Dembele finding Mbappe, and Mbappe drives it low and he scored. 4-0 has become 4-3. Double figures for Mbappe at this World Cup.
And they are putting on a show in this second 45 minutes, France.
Just been told there's only 4 players for England that have scored a hat-trick at a World Cup, so that's definitely something I can be proud of.
This for the hat-trick. Bukayo Saka will step up and hit this. Left-footed, and he scores!
Yeah, it makes me very proud. I'm happy with myself to achieve that today.
Brilliant from Bellingham. Oh, wonderful Wonderful from Jude Bellingham. That is why he is one of the best in the world.
What a tournament that young man has had.
France 4, England 6, and Bellingham has the final word.
What an absolutely bizarre 90 minutes of football that turned out to be. 100-plus minutes in the end, with Jude Bellingham's goal coming in the 98th minute to make it 6-4 to England. If you're just waking up this morning, you don't need to clear your ears out. You don't need to make sure you've had your coffee. I did say that. The game finished 6-4 to England. And I was left questioning, Tony, am I watching a World Cup game or am I watching Soccer Aid?
I know what you mean. I mean, I'll tell you one thing would have stood out for me as well. What on earth would it have been like being in the French dressing room at half-time with Didier Deschamps, who's just witnessed his team, who were absolute favourites to win the tournament and showed it in up until they played Spain, that they're the reason why everyone had to beat them. Whoever beat them, I always said, will win the World Cup. Okay, that a lot of people have felt that way. But Deschamps must have been absolutely furious.
Apoplectic.
Because he would have... You know, he'd have been shell-shocked like the team were, but how can they be so passive in the game? 4-0 at half-time.
Honestly, they were... As much as I was impressed with what England did and a little bit enraged with what England did in the first half, because I'm sitting there going, where was that for 35 minutes against Argentina after we scored? They were truly dreadful in that first half, like embarrassingly bad. And, you know... If I was a French fan, I'd be raging if this game really meant anything, in the same way that I'm kind of... Like, this was meant to be the farewell to Didier Deschamps. This was meant to be, like, sending him off into the sunset. You started Kylian Mbappe in the hope that he could add to the Golden Boot. He ends up doing that in the second half. But 4 changes at half-time for the French. He's obviously given them a right kicking. And what I end up feeling like as an England fan is, all right, for all that endeavour and all that excitement in the first half, if France played from minute 0 the way that they played in that first 25 minutes of the second half, are we losing that game 6 or 7-0? Because they were so good when they came back out.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of awful defending in the game. There really was. And that includes England. And England were very comfortable up until half-time. Second half, they were being run ragged, you know, by the French attack, which they're capable of. So it's a really strange way to end a tournament. And does it mask over all the other issues? England, as Declan Rice said, and have been the third best team in the tournament. They've ended up third. And I tell you one thing gripes me as well, Will, I don't know what you think about this. The fact that Mbappe now will probably win the Golden Boot in this game that was literally like a basketball match. And you can go, okay, it's a meaningless game as in you've been knocked out. You know,
100%.
And you're now going to win the Golden Boot. I mean, it's not a definite, but it's very likely now wins the Golden Boot.
And to be clear on this, and
That's
I think a lot of people will have heard how we talked about the third place playoff yesterday. Worst game in football, absolute joke. Nobody wants to play in it. And they'll have seen the quality of the game last night, and they'll wonder if we're eating our words. I feel no differently about a third place playoff. I still think that the fact the winner of that game gets an extra £2 million in prize money from FIFA, I still think you just split that money 50-50 and let everyone go home after they've lost the semi-final. I still would much rather that's the approach going forward, just because we had a really fun, entertaining game last night, just because I had a couple of hours where I got to see some great attacking football and I got to have a fun time. It doesn't mean that I suddenly think that that's a game of football that should exist beyond this tournament, because I've never been a fan of it and I'm still not. It was fun last night, but it's still meaningless, and it's still just to start. Like, let me ask, how did you feel when you saw the team selection come out? No Harry Kane, no Jude Bellingham, but Declan Rice starting, Bukayo Saka starting. Those two end up getting the full 90-plus minutes, the pair of them. 4 behind the striker with only 1 holding midfielder against the French. Like, did you read anything into the way Thomas Tuchel approached the game?
Well, when I saw the lineup, I was shocked and then thought, well, this is a game that really doesn't mean, it doesn't mean enough to put out your best 11, right? Because England didn't put out their best 11.
No.
If he was to choose a team tomorrow, a lot of them players wouldn't even be on the starting sheet, right? So that's where they were. And the French approach was so lackadaisical in the way that they approached it. I mean, they're laughing. I mean, when you come in at half-time, you've got Kylian Mbappe, he's got a big smile on his face. And you might go, well, that's shock. But there was a real lack of effort on the French, and they wouldn't have selected the team they did. Hernandez wouldn't have played it in the game, I don't think. against Bukayo Saka. I mean, he got literally ripped to pieces. And Andes, left fullback. So it was very weird. But the weirdest thing of all was the result. I could never of a million years would think that game could end 6-4. And to be, brutally honest, it was a game that could have ended even more than 6-4. It could have been a 8-7 or, and that tells you everything you need to know. That game wasn't a proper game of football.
Listen,
in my opinion.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, not that I love agreeing with you at all moments, Cass. I think it's much more fun if we have a little bit of head. Couldn't agree more. Not a proper game of football. But do people feel differently? Do the people at home listening to us right now, 03717 223344, are we being killjoys? Should we just revel in that sugar rush of a game of football, that energy drink of a game of football? Should we think that actually England showed something in that game? Or is it easy to do that when the pressure's off? We'd love to hear from you. 03717 223344. How do you feel about Saka starting the game last night when not playing a single moment of the game against Argentina? Declan Rice playing a full 90-plus minutes despite the fact that he couldn't finish the last few games for England because he clearly had health concerns. So we'd love to hear from you on all of that. 03717 223344. We'll have more reaction to England. We'll look back on a massive tournament. And, of course, we'll build up to the World Cup final here on the World Cup Weekend Breakfast on talkSPORT.
We've been talking all morning about Thomas Tuchel. We've been talking all week about him and the fact that he's questioned England's DNA, whatever that may be. He said, I think ball possession plays a crucial role. It's maybe not in our DNA as it is in the Spanish or Brazilian or Argentinian DNA. To take the ball and control the game and the ball, which is a big problem. What do you make of that, Ben?
Watching the Spain game the other night against France, that's how you keep the ball. And I think it comes down to bravery. We've got the players to do it, we've got the ability to do it, but it comes down to bravery. And I think once them England players put that shirt on, when it comes to the crunch moments, that's the bit that is lacking a little bit. We've definitely got the ability to do it. We've got the players to be able to do it. You watch Spain, and when they went 2-0 up, even when they were 1-0 up, they just kept doing it. You've got Fabian Ruiz and Rodri in the central midfield. At one point, they're playing two-touch over the French midfield. They're keeping the ball nice and calm. And I'm just thinking...
They had a good structure as well, though.
Really good structure, but they're drilled on it. And there's a lot of people saying, well, why can't we be drilled on it?
You've got to want the ball as well.
You've got to want it, but it's bravery, isn't it?
It is.
And bravery comes in a load of different forms. People think bravery might be a Dan Burn getting his head, and it is a form of bravery, but when it comes to the crunch moments, it's that calmness under pressure in the big calm moments where you've got to go, right, just woof, woof. And I think Argentina a bit, look at Messi, see how calm he is, and I think that filters through the team as well.
Yeah, he can carry you out of trouble, Messi, can't he? Give him the ball, he carries it up the pitch, he takes the pressure on. That's what we were lacking as well, just an individual who just could carry it up.
Oh, it'd be lovely if we had one of them. One or two of them at home, I think.
I think it's a bit unfair because he took Gordon off, and I think Gordon's grown into the tournament, I thought, because he had a lot going on at the beginning, which I spoke of, because with the move and all that sort of stuff, a lot to handle, if you like. But I think he's grown into it.
ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Premature, isn't it?
I mean, premature. Are we celebrating being third-place champions? Is that what's happening here? Are we really celebrating a bronze medal at the World Cup? Should be playing today, not yesterday. Livid. Why are we playing Queen, though, Cass?
Someone must be champion. Tell me who.
It's because it's Brian May's birthday.
Oh, okay.
It was just the choice of song. Are you a Queen guy?
Yeah, great band. Yeah, great band. Did I buy a load of their music? No, but did I listen to him over the years and loved it? Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know how old he is today?
Why, mate? Well, he's in his 80s. No, he's not as old as that.
Only 79. I mean, you're only a year off.
Okay,
yeah. I'm still calling you wrong. That's it. Favourite Queen song?
This would be one of them. What would be my favourite? Let me have a think on that one.
All right.
I'll have a think because there's too many.
It's a teaser to later in the show. I'm a big fan of Fat Bottom Girls. You can clip that on its own if you want. The bicycles, I like the kind of funny, silly side of Queen. That's like, this is great though. We were rocking. They've got a lot of bangers.
Yeah, they've always produced amazing music, and had the ability to get a number one a few times.
Mm-hmm.
You know that. They find that edge, We Are the Champions is one of them, that you just go, that's going to be legendary forever.
And we are definitely going to be hearing that later tonight at some point, whether it's in the stadium, whether it's live on talkSPORT. When Spain or Argentina lift the 2026 World Cup, it, of course, is live tonight. All the build-up from 6 p.m, kickoff at 8 o'clock here on talkSPORT. We're playing We Are the Champions on a day where England fans are supposedly celebrating winning a bronze medal at the World Cup. Now, third place, best England finish since 1966. Yeah. That's what they want to sell to us. That's what they talked about in the press conference. Bukayo Saka comes out and tells talkSPORT finishing the tournament strong was what they deserved as a group and that they believed they should have gone all the way. And I listened to that and I watched that first half last night and I saw how brilliant we were going forward. How on that Declan Rice goal, he picks the loose ball up, pass up from Doué, drives. There are 6 players around him and it hits that pure strike. How he delivers his best cross of the entire World Cup, his best corner of the whole World Cup in a third place playoff. A brilliant second goal. The third goal, I mean, it was everything we wanted against Argentina on that third goal. It was pace. It was power. It was running from deep. It was 2 players not panicking when they got in the box. On the fourth goal, Tony makes a brilliant move inside. Saka coming from outside to in. Makes the run. Great pass. Great finish. I'm sitting going, this is amazing. This is brilliant. Where was this on Wednesday? Where on earth was this when we needed it? And Anthony Barry got all emotional at halftime, talking about how brilliant the players were and how brilliant the performance was.
Yeah, you have to be careful of England got a great result last night. Why I said it wasn't a proper football game is because I played over 700 times in my career and never played in the 6-4. Right? Either way,
it says everything, doesn't it?
Lost 6-4, won 6-4. Never had a 6-4 game. Okay, and I was immediately thinking that, when I'm watching it, and like we said, it could have been even, a bigger scoreline than it was. So that always was at the back of my mind, and the French clearly turned up first half as if it was a practice match.
They treated that first half with absolute contempt. The same contempt I think a lot of us have for the third place playoff as a game in general. And yet I sat watching it and I got annoyed about the lack of endeavour, and I got annoyed that we had been watching this. And I just thought to myself, when the pressure's off and England actually do what Thomas Tuchel promised us we'd do for the last 3 games, take the handbrake off, actually go at a team, play on the front foot, suddenly we look phenomenal.
Well, you can't allow for that, because the opposition will never do what the French did. If the French would play tomorrow and it was going to be their strongest lineup and there was a lot of, at stake in the game wouldn't be like that. It just wouldn't. That is just, I can't relate that to a proper football match.
But it's not a Premier League team playing a non-league team in some pre-season behind closed doors friendly to get players warmed up. These are still world-class players who are in the French international squad, who play for top teams across Europe. These aren't jokes of players. And they scored some brilliant goals, and they did play brilliantly. Two things can be true. England can be brilliant and France can be terrible. I'm completely with you. There's no way that if this was the final today, that it would end 6-4. Absolutely no chance. But I still got frustrated seeing that level of endeavour from England, that level of getting on the front foot, that level of just freedom that they played with. And it's interesting. So Thomas Tuchel spoke with Faye Carruthers after the game, and he said people have been too negative after the Argentina loss.
The press conference yesterday felt as if we went out in group stage without a win, to be very honest. And 24 hours later, we have the biggest success in 60 years. So to put the low, to take the low not too low and the high not too high, is what we try, even for us and for the team. I think the low and the drama about what happened against Argentina was too low. But listen, that's part of it. The best thing you can do is...
It's so easy to sit in a press conference after that game and say, oh, we've had our best finish since 1966. Well, no, we've been to 4 semi-finals and we've lost 4 semi-finals. That's all that matters to me. That's the best finish, not whether you win a third-place playoff or not. How do you feel about him accusing people of being too negative after that performance on Wednesday?
Well, you can make that accusation against other managers. I'm sure Ancelotti went back to Brazil and they how they felt the tournament would have gone for them and other countries. What would have been the reaction when Germany go back to Germany and how poor they were? The Netherlands, Belgium, loads of countries have this issue because the intensity is all what makes games. You don't have to be the best team at times. Argentina are not the best team in this tournament, but they've made the final. And they've done it by, digging deep, getting more out of players, having the motivation, just the drive to be a team that will never throw in the towel. That's different. These weren't teams that are going to throw in the towel last night. These were teams that are going, literally, coming in, it's us against you, right? We'll show what we can do. And the French weren't overly bothered, it didn't seem, until they got in at half-time. And the manager, I'm sure, would have said a few choice words.
Put a rocket up them.
Well, certainly, because they came out. That French team weren't the team of the first half.
No, not even close.
Okay, so that you're playing against a completely different French team. Because they were embarrassed. Mm-hmm. Being embarrassed makes you react, and you have to.
How do you feel? Anthony Barry, who has given some great halftime interviews in this tournament, who has been a little bit of a breakout star from an England perspective, has been very forthright and very honest in a lot of those times. His halftime interview at this game, I thought he was going to start crying. He said this. He said, "I'm a little bit emotional. I'm struggling to find the words to describe how proud I am of these players. They're playing this game with broken hearts. I see 11 lads with broken hearts. I've seen them the last 2 days. Broken hearts. They can build a performance like that through playing for England. The team spirit we built the last 7 weeks. It's been a privilege to watch." Now, he's investing a huge amount in a first half of football where France didn't turn up and saying that Oh, I saw all of the brilliance that I've seen the last 7 weeks in that 45 minutes. And he's getting emotional. He's nearly crying on TV about it. And I looked at it and I went, God, you lot are really, really putting a lot behind what's basically a borderline testimonial when you've just lost a World Cup semi-final. Felt like trying to justify it to me.
Well, look, he's going to say some kind words. He'd have a lot of affection for the players in that group. He'd have worked with them over the period of time, not just in the World Cup, but before that. So he's invested in this team and really believes that they have got something way more. They're not ready yet, and he obviously thinks, like Tuchel, there is another, chance further down the line, whether it's the Euros, and I think he's just backing his players and team and coming out with a real positive attitude. It doesn't tell the whole story. England weren't as good as we know, and they got beaten by a team that just had more than them in Argentina. I get why he's done it.
I don't mind backing the players at all, and I don't mind the post-game press conference backing the players at all. It just felt a little bit
yes,
much at half-time of a friend.
But you can't win this argument, Will. When you've been beaten or you lose in a certain way, the result, it can be so much more if you lose. It's just, but you lost, right? So that argument comes in, and there'll be people who are thinking, words can just like echoing. Is that what you do? You're trying to play it down or big it up, whatever way you want to go. I just think the result determined everything of the reaction we saw from Wednesday to where we are today.
I'd love to hear from you on this. 03717 223344 is the number to call. How much do you read into the England performance and the result last night? 3 huge games coming in the Nations League in 69 days' time. Spain, Czechia, Croatia. 3 of the top teams in Europe being faced off by England. Do you carry anything from this game into that? Does it say anything about England's mentality, or just the fact that they can win with the handbrake off just mean that you're concerned when the pressure's back on? Still to come, we're going to break down the 2026 World Cup by continent, reviewing which nations impressed and which ones did not. We'll talk Africa next, and of course we'll build up to the World Cup final later today on talkSPORT.
To go, mate. I'm sorry, Jeff. Like, when we are paying £8 million for a foreign coach to come in and win us our first trophy since 1966, and that's what he does in a semi-final for an Argentinian side that were there for the taking, and to do what he did 10 times worse than anything Southgate's ever done negatively, I'm sorry, he has to go, mate. Simple as that. The FA have to make a decision, and I just didn't like his interview, the arrogance of his interview. No regrets. Yes, you have got regrets, mate. You've got regrets. There was loads of trouble after the game across the country. Everyone was together. And that's on you, Thomas Tuchel. That's on you. The negativity, cowardly tactics. You can't blame the players. I'm hearing people say, Jeff, that, the players on the pitch have got to make decisions. There's some experience. No, you listen to your coach. Your coach tells you to play a certain formation. You listen to him.
Yeah.
He has to go. Simple as that. No foreign coach ever won the World Cup. Maybe for a reason. We've given it a go now again with a foreign coach, and that's what he's done.
I mean, Alan here has just tested the same sort of thing you were saying. So Tuchel's shortcomings have been exposed. What about the players' shortcomings? Well, look, the players, we've got 6 defenders on. We've got 4 central defenders on at the end for the cross that Messi puts into Laura Martinez. So, yes, I get that. But ultimately, the can has to be carried by the coach, especially with the negativity. I mean, look, everybody said this, but the negative. Anthony Gordon is flying. We scored a brilliant goal. Brilliant goal. You'll have loved, the fact that Kane, Declan Rice, who's soon to come off as well, Morgan Rogers, and a lovely finish to Anthony Gordon. and Gordon's feeling 10 feet tall, so what do we do? Oh, we'll take him off. Good morning. This is the World Cup Weekend Breakfast, live on YouTube and your smart TV. I'm Will Gavin, alongside the former Republic of Ireland striker Tony Cascarino. Here's some of your other headlines that you're waking up to this morning. Sam Burns takes a 2-shot lead into the final round of the 154th Open as Ryan Fox matched major history, and Bryson DeChambeau stayed in title contention. It's all live on talkSPORT 2 from 9 a.m. this morning. Former Premier League striker Troy Deeney says he's concerned about the lack of strikers coming through the English system. The former Watford captain joined Adrian Durham and Jim Proudfoot on World Cup game day yesterday afternoon.
You can see within 2 seconds what teams have worked on. Then they get to the final third and they go on it. Go figure it out. And it's there's only like 1 or 2 teams that actually work on something in the final third, but then it's like they work on one thing. Man City, Arsenal, you go wide, underlap, play to that one he crosses in, or go wide, cross it in the box, try and create chaos. No one's actually trying to work the ball now for a striker to be in the best position. It's a percentage and numbers game, where again, when we played, it was what's the striker's attribute? My attribute is to be pulled to the back post. So the wingers knew, when you get to this part, you stand it up, because that's where Troy will be. Do you get what I mean? Like, you're working towards that. I think now it's about a teamwork and a framework, and whoever scores. Doesn't matter as long as the team scores. So I think they need to go back to a little bit of that, and also some arrogance from the strikers, because you need to be arrogant to be a striker. I don't know if you know.
I don't see it in you.
No, I'm very humble.
Look at those storms going on in New York, by the way. Interesting to see what the weather's going to be like for the final today between Spain and Argentina. Cass, I mean, as a classic number 9, what do you make of this idea that England isn't producing enough good strikers?
Well, they haven't got enough good young ones. You know, you look at Ivan Toney's age, you look at Ollie Watkins' age.
30 now.
Yeah, Harry Kane. You know, they're all have had great careers, but there isn't a young one. You know, at one time you had people like Robbie Fowler, Michael Owen that would break through. You know, the young Shearer when he came through, and others. England are missing, I think, a young, real, bright. You know, look, we talk about Haaland and he's in a different, but Haaland's what, only still 25?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's going to get a lot of goals between now and 30. And look, he's not in one of the best nations. I thought Norway, probably the best Norwegian team I'd seen.
100%.
You know, for a long time. They're one of the best. But there isn't enough young strikers, and Troy's right. Now, to be a striker now and playing on your own, I've always argued, because I've never met a centre forward who's ever said to me, I like playing on my own. All of us want partners, because they help you. They help you play your game. Like he said there, I want things hang up at the back post. That's what I wanted. I want somebody to dink it. I was lucky. I had people like with Ireland, Kevin Sheedy, Ray Houghton. They knew the type of ball, and there was others. And at club football, I had a Jimmy Carter that could get to the byline and hang it up to Kevin O'Callaghan. That was from the early days at Millwall.
It's all right when you're 6'3" and you're aerially dominant, though.
But you need. I at the end of my career played in a system at Nancy. I was 37. Well, I started at Nancy at 35 and ended at 38. But at 35, 36, 37, I had 2 lightning wingers. Both of them could get to the byline, and I never had to go. I'd done the Chris Wood role. Forest, in between the 18-yard box. That was where I had to be. I didn't have to make channel runs. I just had electric pace around me, and I loved it.
I saw somebody on social media yesterday talking about what the England lineup would be for the 2030 World Cup. And they were playing Jude Bellingham in a false 9. That's the situation we're in with strikers right now. Let's talk a little bit about African football. The World Cup comes to an end today, of course, with Spain, Argentina. Across the course today, we're going to look at some of the good, the bad and the ugly from the tournament. But the African nations, 9 out of 10 of them making it through to the knockout stages. I'm delighted to say the African football expert, the excellent Ali Howarth, is with us now. Ali, how are you, sir?
Ali.
Hey, guys, you all right?
Yes, very good.
Listen, only Egypt and Morocco make the round of 16, but 9 teams get out of the group stages. Are we seeing this as a win for Africa, or how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, definitely. I think the word I would use for this World Cup from an African perspective is justification. We've been crying out for years and years. The African continent, CAF, has been crying out for better representation at the World Cup, a seat at the table ever since really 1966. Obviously, that's better remembered for England winning their sole World Cup. But that was the tournament where CAF actually boycotted the tournament because they weren't given an entire slot for the entire continent of Africa. And ever since then, it's been a battle. And so this is finally the first World Cup where we got 10. We got proper representation. And they represented the continent really, really well. Look, 9 out of the 10 teams made it out of the group stage, a better ratio than any other continent. Yes, they didn't get it over the line past the round of 32. A lot of disappointing results there. But I think when you look at it on the whole, there's a lot of teams that, yes, we had Cape Verde who were debutants, but we also had a lot of teams, I think 4 or 5, that hadn't played in over a decade. You had DRC not playing in 52 years. So I think on the whole, it's been a very, very positive tournament for the African continent, and one where I think they've really justified their inclusion in this tournament.
And you could add to that the way they got knocked out. If you look at Senegal, they were in a great position. You look at Egypt, likewise, 2-0 up and ended up getting pegged back. So they done extremely well and could have gone further. I think the biggest disappointment, even though they were a really good side, was Morocco, because I thought when they took on the French, I thought they showed they were quite passive, and the Morocco have been a very aggressive team in all the build-up, all the group games. I thought they're going to upset somebody along the way. And I thought against the French, they didn't quite have that game plan that we saw in the early part of the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. I mean, Morocco for me were not a big surprise, but I was very impressed with them in this tournament. You've got to remember, this is almost an entirely different team to the one that reached the semifinals in 2022. A new coach who was only brought in March, a lot of young players who came through the kind of really vaunted Moroccan youth system that won the under-20s World Cup last year. And they kind of transformed the way they played. In 2022, it was defensive, it was structured, it was resilient. Whereas this tournament, we saw them outplaying Brazil for large parts. We saw them playing some brilliant football. And I think they just ran out of steam against France. And I think that's the point from a Moroccan perspective. I think the aim for this tournament was the quarterfinals. Anything better was a bonus. But I think for this Morocco team, we're not really made for this tournament. They're made for 2030, 2034. That's what this team is building towards. So I think absolutely, I agree with you. The France performance was really, really disappointing that they didn't even lay a glove on them. But I think from a Morocco perspective, you say, look, this is a very new team. This is a young team. And actually, this isn't our World Cup. It's the next one where Morocco will be hosts and hoping to host the final as well in their new mega stadium that they're building just outside of Casablanca.
From the overall continent perspective, I'm old enough to remember the brilliant Nigeria team of 94. I'm not quite just on that cusp of remembering Cameroon and Roger Miller in 1990. But it feels like ever since then, whether it's the Great Ivory Coast team, whether it's this Morocco team that's made it late into the knockout stages, we're going to have a World Cup going at some point in the next 3 tournaments. An African team will win this World Cup. And yet that keeps being pushed forward and pushed forward. When do you think that actually does happen? Do you think this Morocco team could be good enough in the next 3 tournaments to actually go and win it?
Yeah, it's a good question. Absolutely, Morocco are good enough to win it. I think sometimes there's almost a bit of naive optimism in looking at this and saying, the same way that Pele said, "Oh, an African team will win the tournament by the turn of the millennia." And I think we have to be realistic. A lot of these countries are playing catch up, and I've been reflecting on this a lot during this tournament. Is the way in which football is structured, where all of the money, the power, and the kind of, brilliance that we've seen in recent years is all in Western Europe, right? For me, it's not a coincidence that England, France, and Spain are in the semifinals of the World Cup. That is where, if you want to be a good footballer these days, you have to either you're being developed in Paris, you're being developed in London, and then you're making your way to the Premier League or to, Real Madrid, Barcelona, PSG, Bayern. And there is a sense that in that current structure, Africa are always playing catch up, because you look at someone like Sadio Mane, who in many ways had the perfect career, where he goes to Generation Foot, one of the best academies in Senegal, then goes to Metz, and then, progresses to Southampton and then Liverpool, and has this amazing career. By the time he's getting to Liverpool, he's already in his mid-20s. He's playing catch-up, whereas you see these guys, Ryan Cherki, Michael Olise, all of these young players coming through, whether it's France or England, they're playing at these elite teams right from the start. So for me, there is a question of, how do African nations claim back that deficit, claw back that? Now, having said that, Morocco do seem to be the ones going about it the right way. They're identifying players very early in their diaspora, like Ayoub Bouadi, who might be playing at Arsenal later this season, or someone else in the Premier League, is a top talent, and no doubt would have played for France further down the line, but he chose from an early age to represent Morocco. And they're also investing a lot to develop young players in Morocco. I mentioned that they won the Under-20 World Cup. So absolutely, Morocco can win the World Cup in the next 2 or 3 editions, but I don't think we should necessarily expect it, because I think even Morocco are still trying to play catch up, because Moroccan domestic football just can't compare to European football. And so for me, there's still a lot of questions about where we see, an African nation coming in winning the World Cup.
The wonderful African football expert, Ali Howarth, joining us there. Brilliant stuff from you. I subscribe to his Substack, by the way, Ali's African Football, and it's really good, like really great writer. So thank you so much, Ali. I didn't expect him to come back up on screen and react to that then. I just thought that was a nice thing I'd say about him as he went off air. Bye, Ali. Lovely to see you.
Checks in the post.
Yeah, exactly. This is the World Cup Weekend Breakfast on talkSPORT, and we'll take a look at the back pages next.
I wonder whether he went back, muscle memory, whether he's gone back to what happened against Mexico, where we dealt with 5 at the back and they threw things. But this ain't Mexico.
There's 20 minutes left.
It's
20 minutes of normal time, Jace.
It's more than that.
And we had a man sent off against Mexico. You could almost accept it.
I know.
You're playing against Argentina. You can't sit off for 25 minutes against Argentina. He absolutely bottled it. Thomas Tuchel's cost us the World Cup. He cost us the World Cup. We're 1-0 up. Played well first half. All right, cagey affair. We go 1-0 up. Be brave. Be brave, Thomas. This is what we brought you in for. We brought you in for this moment. We got rid of Southgate because he bottled it, because he weren't brave. We brought you in for now to make that decision. We're 1-0 up in a World Cup semi-final. Bring on Rashford. Bring on Saka. And if they score, they score. But at least we're going to go down fighting. At least we're going to go down with some pride. We fell out of the World Cup in disgrace because of him. Because of him. And we brought him in for this job. This is what we brought him in for, to get us over this line. And it's the same old England, same old crap, same old guff that I have to watch every tournament that we're in. And it's the manager's tucked us up again. Tucked us up. We're dead on our feet. Got Morgan Rogers playing right wing, Jude Bellingham on the left. Brings on Nico O'Reilly. We can't get out. Harry Kane's done nothing. He's dead. Nothing. Got nothing left.
I don't.
I can't believe it, Jace.
Well, no.
Jace, I can't believe it. It's a disgrace.
I
he should be sacked. Get him out. gone.
I totally agree. I can't believe that we've moved on from Southgate, and it was if you look back over how we've limped out of World Cup or Euros, whatever, it was literally rinse and repeat. It's the same reasons. It was cowardice.
This is the World Cup weekend breakfast with me, Will Gavin, the wonderful former Marseille striker Tony Cascarino alongside me. We're building up and reacting to this huge summer of sport, which just keeps on rolling. Here's what's coming up for you on talkSPORT today. From 10 a.m, Max Rushton and Charlie Baker. And then we've got a fascinating edition of the World Cup weekend because it's Kev Hatchard and Andy Brassel. Funnily enough, there's something going on this evening, which means no Trans-Euro Express is going to be on. I don't know if anyone has figured out what it is yet. So we get them on in the daytime to preview the World Cup final. Then from 3 o'clock, Jamie O'Hara and Mickey Gray start the build-up before the big one from 6 p.m. Spain, Argentina in the World Cup final, live from the New Jersey, New York Stadium. Kickoff from 8 p.m. And then, of course, the Sports Bar will be here to take your calls afterwards. 03717 22 33 44 is the number to call. We'd love to hear from you here on the Weekend Breakfast as well. Be sure to keep it talkSPORT to never miss a thing this summer. And let's take a little look at the back pages this morning with Sam Stevens.
Have you missed that, Sam?
I've missed it. Have you missed me? No.
Yes. I'm
Sure.
glad to see you back, Sam.
He says he's missed it. That's definitely his alarm. he wakes up every morning to that. Shabana Hearn can hear it through the wall of the hotel every morning, him just singing along to it.
Yeah.
This is my theme tune, my go-to theme tune every morning, like you say, Will. By the way, I very much enjoyed the way you did there in the coming up menu, calling it the New Jersey, New York Stadium, because it very much is in New Jersey, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the New York, New Jersey Stadium. It's the MetLife to me. It will always be the MetLife to me. It's ridiculous that FIFA make them take the signage down and everything, but there we go.
Yeah. Indeed. I'm back after 6 weeks away, having travelled around the States, and it was an absolutely sensational time. What a time we had.
Yeah, where was you based mainly?
I started in Charlotte with the Scotland team, and that didn't last very long because the Scotland team didn't last very long, sadly. Right. And then we moved on. We went to Miami, Atlanta, Philadelphia, New York, Mexico City included in that as well. Went to the Azteca. It was an incredible trip. The Azteca is the best stadium for sure in terms of how iconic it is. But I think the stadium in Dallas, Will and I had this chat.
That's where the final should be.
It's unbelievable. The AT&T Stadium, or the Dallas Stadium as it's known for sponsorship, non-sponsorship reasons during the tournament, is phenomenal. Where the semi-final was played, and I think realistically it's probably better than. I think actually the general consensus is that MetLife or the New York, New Jersey Stadium is a bit of a pain to get to. It doesn't really have the same soul and atmosphere as a lot of the stadiums in America. Right. And the Dallas Stadium is I think significantly better on that front. And so I'm disappointed they decided not to use it because I think it's fantastic, to be honest.
Yeah, SoFi is brilliant, but it doesn't have 80,000 people. But the AT&T Stadium, that stadium in Dallas, is maybe the best stadium I've ever been to. MetLife is a soulless concrete bowl across the river in New Jersey that is a pain in the ass to get to or get home from afterwards. Honestly, it's just because they wanted to have it in New York. They wanted the glitz and the glamour of having it in one of the major cities. And Dallas isn't seen in the same way. We interviewed Jerry Jones on the red carpet, the Dallas Cowboys owner. The day after they made the decision, we interviewed him at the Super Bowl. And we're like, come on, Jerry. Should have been at your stadium, right? And it gave us a nice, MetLife's great and everything else, but you could tell he was annoyed, and it should have been there.
It's no surprise they've got the most games. It's got 9 at the tournament, which I think is more than any other stadium, so it probably tells you all you need to know about how good it is. But anyway, it's going to be in New York tonight, and we're looking forward to it. But, of course, England won't be there after their...
What?
I know, can you believe it? Breaking news this morning, by the way, in all the papers. England won't be there after their failure against Argentina, despite their win last night. There's a really interesting piece in the Sunday Times this morning with Mr. Paul Gascoigne himself. Gazza, you pointed this out to me, Cass. Jude Bellingham at 23 is the same age I was at Italia 90, he says, but he seems a sensible young man, and some of his power and dribbling reminds me of how I played on the plane back to Luton after England's World Cup campaign under Bobby Robson. Gary Lineker warned me life would be different, but I don't think it will be for Bellingham because he's going back to Spain and Real Madrid, where there won't be the level of media hysteria there was for me in England. When I moved to Lazio in 1992, the press there were interested, but only in what I did on the pitch. I'm glad Bellingham didn't cry during England's defeat by Argentina. Tears are my thing after all. Do you see much comparison between Jude Bellingham?
Well, he carries the ball like Gaza. You know, if you watch Jude play, he can run with it like he got the goal last night and like he's done in other games. He can carry it and get into really great positions. Gaza was unbelievably strong up his top of body. You know, he could hold players off. He'd done it brilliantly. You couldn't get near Gaza. I played against him a couple of times and realised how strong he was because we all talk about his technique and how brilliant he can be. And Jude's got that. Jude's a strong lad. You know, he's 23 years old, but he uses his upper body brilliantly. And look, I mean, it's not rocket science to say this, but Jude is way more level-headed than Gaza was. Gaza was sometimes you'd have to calm him down. You know, I know players who have played with him, and Gaza's a live wire and doesn't, you know, just keeping him on his feet on the ground and how lively he could get and the energy he expands just being Gaza. I think Jude is way more in control of himself. And with the team around him as well.
And as a wider issue, and I ask you both this question, do you think that England should start to look, because we were talking about that clip that we heard from Troy Deeney in the last section, and you also talk about England and the lack of options coming through. Do you think England should now start to think about, for the short term, building this team around Jude Bellingham rather than thinking about Harry Kane?
Not just the short term. It should be the next 10, 12 years of this team should be around Jude Bellingham. And it's so funny when you think about he's so much more level-headed than Gaza was when, you know, he is conversing with Messi in Spanish and winding him up a little bit, where he ends up slapping the Argentina substitute Barco around the back of the head after the game for his atrocious behaviour after the Argentina winner. We have to say it. But I think this is a smart young man, a guy who has got his head screwed on, a guy who says all the things I want to hear in a press conference afterwards, where he delivers things with true passion and true belief and speaks like a fan, but also intelligently. And you see a moment like, and I know it's been poured over, but when he goes and speaks to that Venezuelan journalist, the disabled journalist in the media scrum area after that game, who is there and asking, when he hears Venezuela and he knows about the earthquake there and he knows about the tragedy, it just shows that bit of knowledge, it shows that bit of worldliness about him. And he goes and speaks to him in Spanish and gives a brilliant message to the people of Venezuela. And you just think, he's 23 years old.
Yeah.
It's just the level of maturity is wonderful to see sometimes. I love him. I truly love him.
I think he works really well with Kane. I do. I watch him and I think he can drive into positions that Kane vacates if he drops into hole. You know, Harry Kane's took a bit of a hammering in the last few days about can England move on for him, and I'm thinking, look, it's not Harry's fault that the manager didn't implement pace beyond him. Harry needs pace and runners beyond him to be the player he can be. But Jude is very, very important. And I touched on yesterday, I did a story and I talked about French football with Will and, you know, my cappuccino with Cascarino, and I talked about Zinedine Zidane.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a similar sort of structure. You know, he's a big man. Zidane's as tall as Bellingham, and he glides across the ground. That's what Jude does. So there's a lot of Zidane in Jude Bellingham as well.
You feel like even with Kane coming towards the end, England are still in good hands, aren't they, with Bellingham at the helm for Harry Kane coming towards the end? You think they're good hands with Jude Bellingham for the next few years?
I do. I still think Kane, with the way he's played the last 2 years at Bayern Munich, if he doesn't get too much football in his legs, I still think he can star for England at the Euros in 2 years' time.
Yeah.
34 isn't too... For the style of footballer he is, 34 years old,
he's never relied on pace.
No.
Okay? But you must have it around him. If you're going to negate that and then go, well, no, we haven't got pace and we haven't got anybody who's getting beyond the back line of the opposition, now you're making Harry's game nearly impossible.
And pace was an underrated part of Son Heung-min's game. And they've got it in absolute abundance at Bayern Munich. They runners beyond him.
Yeah, you've got Diaz one side, you've got Lisse the other. Look 100%. How he shines. That's what England... And they've got that with Bellingham.
There you go.
Beautiful. Sam, wonderful stuff from you. Do we play him out with his theme song as well?
No, I don't get played out. I don't get that luxury.
It's like an Oscar speech. Just get him off. Get that music going. Thank you very much. The brilliant Sam Stevens in studio with us. Do you want the chance to win £26,000 in tax-free cash? To celebrate the 2026 FIFA World Cup, we're giving away the big bucks. For your chance to win, head to talksportwin.com to enter and for T's and C's. You're listening to the World Cup Weekend Breakfast on talkSPORT. And, of course, we'll build up to the final in the next hour. Argentina-Spain, live on talkSPORT tonight.
Now, we get the inevitable fallout after a World Cup, and there are reports that one or two of the England players were very surprised that we went ultra defensive in that closing stage of the game. And we were saying earlier on to Stan Collymore that there's a lot of making up to be done by Thomas Tuchel. A lot of people now would have lost trust and belief maybe in his methods, and that would include fans, it would include media, and he's going to have a very prickly time with the media, I guess, over the next 2 years, and maybe some of the players as well, Adrian.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think he's it's a big moment in his England career. Everything had been okay and judgment had been on hold, but judgment was always going to come with what happened at this World Cup, because he was brought in to win the World Cup. And there's no shame in losing to the reigning champions, Argentina, who've still got a player like Messi, who is the best we'll ever see in our lifetime. But it's the manner in which you lose that game, and that manner was not acceptable. Since then, he's come out and basically said, oh, it's the player's fault, not mine. That's how it could be interpreted. And I think that's not going to go down very well. Certainly doesn't go down well with me, because he's been in the job long enough now, and he should have studied it in remember the 6 months he had off before taking the job? Well, in that time, he should have studied the England DNA. We all know about the England DNA.
Yeah.
Your job, mate, is to come in and change that DNA. And if you can't do it, then off you pop, because you're not welcome. You've got nothing to offer us if you can't change that DNA. And actually, the last couple of games, Norway and Mexico, he's been adhering to that DNA, playing up to that DNA. So if he needed something different, he should have all.
The 1982 World Cup gave us maybe the biggest redemption story in football. But to truly appreciate the rise of Paolo Rossi, we also have to understand his fall. 4 years earlier, in 1978, a 21-year-old Rossi was the next big thing in Italian football. His poacher's instinct in front of goal earned him a reputation, and he was constantly surrounded. Despite that, Rossi scored 3 goals as Italy secured a 4th-place finish. Then, in 1980, Italy was rocked by one of the most famous match-fixing scandals in football history, Toto Nero. It started when a market trader in Rome approached a restaurant owner whose venue was popular with professional footballers. The plan was simple: run an illegal betting operation where the public placed bets, not knowing that the players who ate at the restaurant were getting a cut to deliver certain results. The house and the players would always win. And it was all being run out of a Roman eatery. When a whistleblower went to the police, though, Rossi was suspended from football for 3 years. He consistently denied being involved and eventually had his ban reduced to 2 years. That allowed him to join Juventus for the final 3 games of the 82 season and win Serie A. And in those 3 games, Italy manager Enzo Bezzo saw a spark. Rossi was included in the World Cup squad and then the starting 11. In the groups, he did nothing. No goals, no assists, and the Italian public was begging for him to be dropped. Bear in mind, he played the likes of Peru and Cameroon and OK, Argentina. By the way, spot the very young Diego Maradona. Then, out of nowhere, he got a hat-trick against Brazil, another 2 in the semi-finals, and the opener in the final. Not only did he lift the trophy, he won the Golden Boot and the Golden Ball. It was maybe the biggest one-tournament turnaround the World Cup has ever seen. The whole story is so gloriously Italian, and considering he never played in a World Cup ever again, maybe it's one of football's greatest fairy tales.
A very good morning. This is the World Cup weekend breakfast with no Shabana Hearn or Max Scott today. I'm third place Will Gavin. Alongside me, the former Chelsea and Celtic striker, Tony Cascarino.
Good morning.
Morning, brother. Well, so England turned on the style last night to finish third in the World Cup. Here's how Jude Bellingham's sixth sounded on talkSPORT.
Takes it on the outside, comes in field, brilliant from Bellingham. Oh, wonderful from Jude Bellingham. That is why he is one of the best in the world.
03717 223344. What's your reaction to that crazy 6-4 win over France? Can we take anything into it going forward? Does it mean anything for England? Harry Kane spoke to talkSPORT after the game and thought it meant they ended the tournament on a high.
Everyone's still trying to process what happened the other night, and you have this game in between that, you know, it's not ideal for both teams, but I think the team with the best mentality won today.
Well, can we only ever do it? It's the team with the best mentality. Best mentality in a third-place playoff. What are you talking about, Harry?
Well, just on that, that's quite harsh criticism of what he's just said about the French team, because he's basically saying they didn't have a good mentality in today's game.
A good mentality for a third-place playoff?
Yeah. No, but do you know what I mean? He's had a bit of a dig there, Harry, at the French.
I like it. But can England only do it when the pressure is off? And tonight, the World Cup final, Argentina face Spain. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank said he knows what he wants the result to be.
Want Spain to win after seeing how Argentina beat England and also 4 years ago against the Dutch.
Yeah, you and me both, pal. The World Cup final is live from New York, New Jersey, wherever you want to call it, tonight on talkSPORT from 8 p.m. So much to get into. Huge show ahead. So send us a text, 81089. You can give us a call, 03717 223344. We'd love to hear from you here on the World Cup weekend breakfast. Don't forget, there's WhatsApp there as well, here on talkSPORT. Listen, we all wanted to be there. We all wanted England in action tonight. But we're still going to enjoy it when the superstars turn out. By which, of course, I mean BTS, Madonna, Shakira, Justin Bieber, the lot of them. I've just had to double check with management. When we do the Super Bowl live on talkSPORT, we always take the halftime show because it's part of the revelry, it's part of the action. I wonder whether on talkSPORT we're just going to try and hear Jim and Stuart and Adrian try and break down the game live on air whilst in the background they've got, you know, some bangers going on. I kind of feel like we might try and be anti it and might try and not take it live, but I'm going to wait and find out and tell you all.
Yeah, well, you're used to it, Will. You've seen enough of it, haven't you? The background, the music and appearances. And what do you make of the half-hour break?
Well, listen, in the NFL, it's fine. I've been to 12 Super Bowls now. And yes, we've always talked to players about how they approach the halftime break. Like, do you have to approach it differently? Because it is, again, double the length. In the NFL, it's only 12 minutes normally at halftime. Turns into 25-plus minutes with the halftime show. But it's always about mentality, etc. Because the way the NFL is played is you're off the field or on the field for half of the game anyway. If you play on defense, you're not out playing, you're not out running. Football is a game of stamina. Football is a game of flow. Football is a game of... And so, from a sports science perspective, I think it's an absolute nightmare that you're going to let players completely cool down over the course of half an hour. How do they keep that warmth in their legs? How do they keep that momentum going for that full half an hour? It's ridiculous.
The bicycles appear, don't they, on the sidelines?
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to see exactly.
Tour de France.
Yeah. Very good. Very, very good. Right, let's get some European roundup chat and get the latest tournament action with Burger King.
The Breakfast Briefing on talkSPORT with Burger King Burger Buddies. Total tournament satisfaction delivered by the experts. Order now on the BK app.
So in the end, one European team made it to the final, not England, but only twice since 1930 have European teams triumphed at tournaments held outside the continent. It was only with Germany and Brazil that a European team actually won in the Americas. Spain won in South Africa in 2010, of course. This year, 6 of the 8 teams in the quarterfinals, though, were European. So, to get more on this, host of the Trans-Euro Express, and he's live on talkSPORT this afternoon from 1 p.m. The wonderful Kevin Hatchard is in the house. Kev, how are you, sir?
Hi, Kevin.
I'm very well. I'm very much looking forward to the Adrian Durham Shakira mashup that the world needs. That's what we've been looking forward to, and that's what'll be delivered.
You know, Tony Cascarino's hung out with Shakira before.
I wouldn't say hang out with her, but I did meet Kevin, say Shakira, but PK in Gerard PK in Vegas, and he obviously knew Teddy Sheringham at Manchester United, and they were chatting, and Shakira was there, and I sort of jumped in and said hello.
One of Cass's endless celebrity stories. Honestly, the man has a truck full of them.
Being
Wonderful.
Busy, that was what
I'm
I was
eternally jealous. Eternally jealous.
Much like Adrian Durham, myself, and Kev, none of our hips lie, and so we need to know from you. It was a ridiculous segue. Just on a European perspective, this has to be a success because somebody got there. 6 out of 8 of the quarterfinal teams being European is wild.
Yeah, it is. And I think there was all the talk of how European teams would deal with the conditions and what have you, and whether it would, naturally lend itself towards teams like Argentina and Brazil. Obviously, Argentina have made it to the final. Brazil were a long way short of that. I think, obviously, sports science has come on so much. That helps, the preparation they're able to do. Cass will know how difficult these conditions can be at major tournaments and what have you. But I think there has been a lot of progress. This Spain team is extraordinary. What Luis de la Fuente has been able to do. When it's funny, the two coaches, actually, De La Fuente and Scaloni, because when De La Fuente took the top job, there was scepticism. And I think about early in his reign when they lost to Scotland at Hampden, and there was quite a lot of criticism and scepticism. And if you look at Scaloni, when he took the Argentina job, there was outrage, that he wasn't up to it, that he wasn't experienced. And that didn't just happen when he first took the job. That happened, all the way up until his first tournament when they finished third. And he still got a load of stick, and there was still a feeling he wasn't up to it. And look at what he's been able to achieve. So I always find it quite interesting with England when there's this managerial debate and could they go and get Pep and what have you. And you think of actually the two guys who have got to the final this time around, and they've had very different journeys to somebody like a Tuchel or like a Guardiola or like a Klopp.
Yeah, Ancelotti as well, that he's with Brazil, what happened with them and how they fell out of the tournament. Kevin, I've got to ask you, because we were on air we were doing commentary together, and we talked about how good France were. And I remember your words of saying, it'll be very interesting. And, you were just saying, like, literally, Spain are a different problem. And that was shown, that France couldn't handle how Spain played. Can Argentina handle the things that Spain do?
Yeah, I think they can, certainly better than France did. What I was surprised by with that France semi-final is you got the feeling quite early on that it was going badly wrong for France. And I was surprised that Didier Deschamps, who I've got a lot of time for, I think, deserves a lot of credit for the reign that he's had, didn't make the change. They had that 2-against-3 imbalance in midfield. He didn't really change it. He hooked Rabiot at half-time, who was on a yellow card. I could understand that, but didn't change the balance of the midfield at all, and it just didn't work. And Kylian Mbappe talked about that after the game and felt they should have pressed differently, should have dealt with Spain differently. Argentina won't have that. They'll have that extra man in midfield. They'll be prepared for those moments when Spain have a lot of the ball. I think they'll be a lot more aggressive than France were. I think they'll cause them all kinds of problems in that regard. They're going to make it a fight, I think, whereas France never did that. And Spain, as amazing as they are, had a fairly serene time in that semi-final. Argentina won't give them that.
Talk to us a little bit about people who know Kev, know he commentates on the Bundesliga, the reaction in Germany to their early exit and where they are as a nation right now.
Yeah, it's caused a bit of an identity crisis, as these things always do. I think German football's thinking about, what style do they actually want? Are they producing the right players? Are they producing dominant midfielders? Are they producing enough good fullbacks? Are they producing the classic centre forwards that's dominated German football at times? And I think that's definitely being looked at. And, you think of the reset they had at the turn of the millennium. That was huge for them. Raphael Honigstein wrote a very good book about it. And there's that feeling that the cycle's come around again and they need to take a serious look at it. I was surprised by just how bad they were, really, at this World Cup. I kept thinking, oh, it'll change, maybe it'll turn, maybe they'll click, and they never did, really. And Paraguay were able to force them out. So Jurgen Klopp, I think, is the right man to take it over. I think he can give them the emotional lift they need. But I think alongside that, there probably does have to be a look at, is the pathway there in terms of youth development to the senior team, you know? And I think as well, there's a bit of talk in Germany at the moment about losing dual nationals. There's a lot of players that would have played for Germany at senior level that are starting to play for other nations. And I think there's a bit of introspection in Germany about why that is.
Very interesting stuff, Kevin. Really is. And, you know, European perspective, it's been a really hard tournament, apart from Spain. And we see the bright sparks of what France could be. I thought the Netherlands were poor. I thought, obviously, you know, we look at other teams like we just mentioned, Germany, Belgium, Netherlands.
And yet, Spain will win it. England and France just played an absolute banger last night. Not that it meant anything. I'm trying to justify. I'm trying to build it up.
What a game that was, by the way.
No, Kevin, no.
What an amazing game.
Stop it.
The third place playoff.
It was a testimonial.
Get rid of it. Get rid of it. But if it's going to be like
soccer
that,
aid. It was nonsense, Kevin.
I'm up for it. Honestly, 10 goals. The French turned up at that. I mean, Cass said quite rightly earlier on that Harry Kane was having a dig at the French mentality. I'm all for that because France in the first half were a disgrace.
If we have to have the third place playoff, absolutely that's the game I want it to be. I completely agree with you, but it also shouldn't exist. We'll hear more from Kevin's thoughts on this from 1 p.m. this afternoon with him and Andy Brassel as they bring you the World Cup Weekender from 1 o'clock till 3 o'clock as we build up to this huge World Cup final. Thank you so much, the brilliant Kevin Hatchard, joining us here on the Weekend Breakfast. Next up, we'll discuss, is there any of the innovations we can take from this summer's World Cup into the Premier League? Hydration breaks, anyone?
The Breakfast Briefing on talkSPORT with Burger King Burger Buddies. Iconic winners delivered in the box every time. Order now on the BK app.
Up until 72 minutes, we were going to get into the World Cup run. Oh, we weren't crap.
The goal,
right?
was a wonderful ball from Morgan Rogers.
Yeah.
But I'm asking you to put your playing hat on now. Yeah. Your Argentina, is that a good goal or has they switched up at the back post?
That's a bad goal. You switched off. The right back, or was it the right back? Doesn't even react.
Why does that need to criticise a bad goal for England? It was a great goal. We went 1-0 up. It's a great cross.
It was a great
cross. Why can't you argue that Gordon lost his man to score the goal?
Because the geezer doesn't even see him.
Well,
it doesn't go
there must be a reason for that.
He doesn't run and go boom boom. He just runs and the guy's like, oh my man.
Troy, you can't criticise a goal that we scored.
I'm not criticising it. I'm saying we didn't play well. We had 5 shots in the whole game.
Yeah.
They had 5 on target. Remember, they don't call the 2 that hit the post on target.
Yeah, but
so they had the same amount of shots.
But man for man, they're better than us. But
no, they're not.
Well, they are.
No, they're not.
Not man for man, they're not.
Man for man, they're better than us.
Well, last night they were.
Yeah, but still, I think maybe you maybe at a stretch, maybe 3 of their players maybe gets into the England.
Exactly. And they're not man for man better than us. What they can do better, and well, this is why I thought Messi's greatness yesterday really showed. Yeah. Because you know when they were 1-0 down, there was 40 minutes left, he went, give me the ball. He lost it a few times, give it me again. He hit crosses over, give it me again. Don't worry, just keep giving it me because I know I'm going to do it. Everyone in their team went, there's 2 lines. You can either be, I'm going to be the person who doesn't make a mistake, I'm going to be the person who wins the game. Everyone in their team and their bench went, we're going to win the game, I'm going to be the man.
Yeah.
Our team went, don't be the one to make the mistake. No. And we played with fear. Now, that doesn't always come from the manager, that comes from the players within. One person I do want to give a shout, because I've been very harsh on him in this whole thing. Jed Spence was top draw.
Yeah, he was
top draw. So I give credit where it's due. But we've got top players apparently. Where were they?
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
With the World Cup weekend sports breakfast, I'm Will Gavin, and talkSPORT's very own Prince Charming, Tony Cascarino.
I'm wondering why Adam Ant was on there, Prince Charming.
It wasn't for that. It's way more farcical, the reason Adam Ant's on there, and this is a Sam Stevens classic, but I'm going to read it anyway.
Go on.
Not only have Argentina broken our hearts in the World Cup, although we beat them in the rugby yesterday, right? But it looks as though they'll be breaking into our gardens as an invasion of Argentine ants has been found in the northeast, according to experts at the Non-Native Species Secretariat. As they, I definitely knew I was going to be saying that on air this morning, as they warn that this type of ant form enormous interconnected super colonies containing multiple queens and nests. So there you go. We're being overtaken by Argentines, but ants rather.
Ants, right? Okay.
Happy with that?
What do you want me to say to that?
What about a little joke?
I can't think of one.
Enzo Fernandez. You happy with that? You having that one? He's so angry. Oh, God. That's how I felt as well, just so you know. Right, let's do the competition. Come on.
Win 26 grand in your hand, courtesy of talkSPORT Win.
Yeah, you've got just one day remaining for your chance to win £26,000. Yeah, 26 grand cash, completely tax-free. Here's how to enter. For your chance to win, visit talksportwin.com or text WIN to 83338 by 6 p.m. tomorrow. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or you can send your name and number by post to Comp1, PO Box 3190, Colchester, CO2 8GP, to arrive by midnight on the 23rd of July 2026. 18 plus, UK residents only. For your chance to win, text WIN to 83338 now. This is a network promotion. Full T's and C's at talksportwin.com. All that song reminds me of now is the Norwegians. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la. They have some brilliant songs as well as the rowing, the Norwegians, right? We are building up to the biggest game in football. The World Cup final is tonight, live on talkSPORT. Spain against Argentina. The first all Spanish-speaking final since 1930.
Right.
Yep, that's one of the facts I learned this week.
Uruguay, yeah.
And the first time that the reigning world champions and the reigning European champions have faced off in a World Cup final. That's kind of astonishing, that one. I was genuinely surprised by that. But Cass, I want to get your thoughts on some of the new formats, some of the rules that emerged. Could some of these work and be implemented in the Premier League? Let's start with the anti-time wasting rules, right? We talked so much about hydration breaks and VAR and everything else. Only 10 seconds for stubs, 5-second throw-ins, 5-second goal kicks, taking players off for a minute for injury. Are you a fan of all of that?
Well, I like the fact that subs were being pushed along. I enjoyed that. I'm like, come on, because how many of them take an eternity to get off the football pitch? You know,
it's ridiculous.
A bit of waving, a bit of discussion, a bit of, cuddling someone on the way. I've enjoyed that one. I haven't enjoyed the water breaks. I don't really.
We'll get into that in a moment.
Oh, okay.
Let's build to that. Let's build to that, because I think actually the football has felt, outside of those hydration breaks, much more free flowing in this tournament. I think an element of it is referees have allowed players to be physical. We've seen fewer yellow cards per game than any World Cup in the last 20 years. Like, it definitely feels like those anti-time wasting rules are working. It's just that we then have to have a break every 23 minutes so everyone can have a drink of water, even if it's 20 degrees in the stadium, Cass.
No, I've enjoyed the fact that referees have been a little bit more lenient. That's obviously helped Argentina because they're one of the aggressive teams. I watched Paraguay, who knocked out Germany, and I remember thinking while I'm watching the game,
tried to kick France off the park as well.
I mean, it wasn't not throwbacks to the 70s and 80s, but there's a middle ground there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I quite enjoyed the physical side of the game anyway. So, and we were losing it really quickly. The physical part of the game was going out the game so quickly that, we've seen a little bit more freedom for referees to be just a little bit more lenient, which I've enjoyed.
We have seen this weird mix of, they've expanded VAR, goal kicks and corners being overturned, the mouth covering as well.
Yeah.
But actually the threshold for a lot of the VAR decisions, like you see a lot of the penalty decisions in this tournament, seems to have been a lot higher. So it's kind of a middle ground between it. But are you here for the mouth covering? Are you here for the goal kicks and corner kicks being overturned?
Not so much the goal kicks. And look, my problem is, Will, is when you get to the corner kicks and then you get to the goal kicks and then you're going to get to throw-ins and then you're going to get, you're endless of new regulation about where do you start from and where do you finish.
The slippery slope.
Yeah, and I just think you end up going too far. Look, you can make an argument on anything, can't you? If it wasn't a corner for the team and they score from that corner, everyone will argue, well, that's not fair because it shouldn't have been a corner in the first place. But where do you take it? It always gets taken to another level somewhere else on the pitch.
Say, come on then. What about hydration breaks?
Well, I don't like. You've got to have them, especially in a World Cup like in America and what we saw in Mexico. That certain temperatures, players do need to have a drink. I always think, I look at other sports and I go, if they can have drinks and a bit of food on the way on bicycles in the Tour de France, why can't there be pockets with you can have some drinks and energy protein bars on your shorts? Why couldn't you?
Yeah,
and players could eat it or drink
those gel
it.
packets
Exactly.
as well. They're so easy to take
and keep the game going. If you could do it on a bike and keep riding, surely you can keep it going on the football pitch.
I don't want to flog a dead horse with this one, right? But for me, it's the fact that it's 3 minutes and it's mandatory. Yeah, make it.
You have to do it.
You go and you have a drink and that's it. Like, it's easy enough to do. Is
it mandatory or do you have to do it? Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, go on. Fine. Yeah, good gag. Well done, Cass. If it's a minute, which is the old rule was, if you need a hydration break, it's set to a minute. And then in exceptional circumstances, the referee could expand it beyond that.
Yeah.
How many games in this tournament do you think have qualified for those exceptional circumstances?
I can't remember any.
Two.
Okay.
2 games where
Which
it's the wet bulb globe temperature nonsense meter that they use.
Well, some of the conditions, you didn't need a hydration break.
Not even close.
The temperatures were fine.
Multiple stadiums are air conditioned at this tournament.
Yeah.
Multiple games played in air conditioned.
But they didn't want to bias, did they, FIFA? They felt that even if conditions were terrible there and over here there's no hydration break, they wanted to keep it literally on the same theme across the board.
I think that's the nonsense.
That's what they wanted to do.
But an extra $250 million in TV revenue ahead of the tournament. And I bet you that figure has gone up as they've seen how good
absolutely.
the viewing figures have been in America. They'll have been charging a little bit extra because they're making, broadcasting to 50, 60, 70 million people. So, yeah, that's all.
Going worldwide, even dwarfs, I would imagine, the Super Bowl. I mean, I know the Super Bowl goes worldwide, but, the World Cup, what is that worth? It's worth a hell of a lot of money. We know that having breaks. And again, if they go to 3 minutes or it's 2 minutes, there might be a stage when it's 5 minutes and then there'll be 7 minutes. Do you see what I mean?
They're cauterising football and I don't like it, Tony Cascarino. Any stretch of the imagination, the Americanisation.
It's where you end up going. It's like everywhere. You start a 30 or 50 or 40 mile an hour speed limit, you end up with a 20 and then it'd be 15.
I had one more, which I think we're ignoring, and I'm just going to mention very quickly.
Head-to-head record, bin it off. Back to goal difference. It's an absolute nonsense.
right.
It creates dead rubber games. Group stages have to be goal difference. It's ridiculous they're not. Right, I'm sorry. Sam's shouting at me. So this is the World Cup Weekend Breakfast on talkSPORT. And next up, a brilliant first night of the match play last night live on talkSPORT 2. We'll talk some darts. Remember, you can have your say. Do you care if England have finished third? 03717 22 33 44. If the 85th minute comes and we're still 1-up and we've been attacking and we've still created chances, but it hasn't quite gone in, but we're 1-up and Rashford's on the pitch, Saka's on the
go on,
pitch.
keep going.
In the 85th minute, it brings on Dan Burn.
No,
Lovely
no, we get done the counter-attack. What are you going to say? What are you going to say?
What do you mean?
I just told you the scenario.
No, but that scenario is absolute crap.
No, it's
that scenario wouldn't have happened.
Jay, I'm just trying to paint you a picture about how we could lose the game in a different way based on what. Jay, I'm with you. Don't get angry with me.
No, I am getting angry.
No, don't get angry with me.
You're trying to tell me how I'm going to feel about a situation.
And you'd sit there and go, "Oh, well done, boys. Glorious failure. We had a right go. Right go at the post-cup time. Got done in 2 counter-attacks. Fine. Go out in your shield." No way. No way you'd sit there and say that.
I would have sat there and I would have accepted it because I watched 4 bloody tournaments.
I don't believe you.
Of England.
I don't believe
doing
you.
exactly what we did last night.
I don't believe you.
And if we'd gone out with Rashford and Saka on the pitch.
I don't believe you.
And still trying to attack, and we get done,
do you know what we'd be sitting there?
done.
Do you know what we'd be sitting there now? We'd be saying, how can Thomas Tuchel allow us to get done on a counter-attack twice, 85th and 92nd minute? How can that happen? You'll be saying the same thing, and it'll be a different conversation based on what the evidence is in front of you. You would.
Don't tell me how I'm going to feel.
Oh, you'd accept it, would you?
Oh, I've told you 10 times.
No chance. No chance. I know you too well. No chance. I wouldn't accept it. I wouldn't accept it. I'd be saying, why has he not got 5 at the back? Why is he not? He's 85th minute on the counter-attack. Listen, we agree. I'm just trying to.
No, you're not agreeing. You're not agreeing.
No,
you're not agreeing.
No, I am.
No, you're trying to wind me up.
No, I'm not. Jay, 100% I'm agreeing with you. Jay, 100% I'm agreeing with you.
You're not agreeing with me. You're not agreeing with me. Morning, I'm Will Gavin, the former Chelsea striker Tony Cascarino alongside me. This is the World Cup weekend sports breakfast. Here's some of the other headlines you're waking up to this morning. Argentina's rugby union players wore replicas of the football team's 1986 World Cup kit for their match against England at the Nations Championship, which England won 31-24 in controversial circumstances. And Graham Souness believes that England midfielder Declan Rice is limited and would be better suited to playing centre-back. Former England assistant Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank told talkSPORT he strongly disagrees.
I've seen him from close. I've seen him in training. I've seen him in games. I think he can be even more dominant by believing more in himself. I think he can also score more goals. I think he can shoot more at a goal. Those kind of things can be more added, but has to be put in his mind. I do think that he is top. I do think in this market now, he is £100 million plus player.
So Declan Rice, last night, handbrake off, drives at the goal, scores a screamer. Is he limited playing in midfield for England, Cass?
No, he's not, definitely not limited. He's a player I've always said. He can play a 6 and 8. He could play right back and he could play centre half.
Where would you rather he played for England? Do you prefer him in the holding role? Or
it's obvious that midfield, and if he's got the right type of player, if he's got offensive players around him, but also seen when Declan's been given a licence to get in the 18-yard box, there's no reason why he can't get goals because he's decent deliverer of the ball. He's good in the air. I think Declan's got way more in his locker as an offensive midfielder as well. What we've seen is in the World Cup is the consequences of a long, hard season that enabled Arsenal to win the Premier League. And, and that come with a number of issues for Declan and other Arsenal players. And I get the argument that, when you win the Premier League, it takes so much effort to get over that line. And I watch players who've given that, by how many games they play, how many minutes they play. And Declan's done all of that. And we've seen a little bit of a downside during this tournament from Declan, without a doubt.
For me, overall in this tournament, if we're doing player ratings and reviews, I know a lot of shows have done this over recent days. Yeah. Overall, I think it's been a disappointing tournament for Declan Rice. And that might be because of injury. That might be because he's come into it not healthy and played 62 games before coming into this tournament.
He was also ill during the tournament.
I think it was absolutely right that people were knocking him after the group stages. I don't think he has been dynamic enough for England. He hasn't had enough of those driving runs. He has taken the game by the scruff of the neck in the way that we know that he can. In many ways, we hold him up to maybe higher standard because we know how good he can be. But guess what? They rested him for a game and he came back healthy, and then against Mexico and against Norway, played probably his 2 best games for England in about the last 2-3 years. So it just shows a fully rested and healthy Declan Rice, or one with the shackles off like it was last night in the third place playoff, can still be one of England's best players.
Right, your point is, I think, a really good one, as in, if you're playing Saturday to Saturday and you're getting the break in between, players seem to have so much more energy. Okay, when they're going Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday, doing this week in, week out, the players lose their edge to a degree. And there'll be people who'll be listening and saying, it's absolute nonsense. They only play an hour and a half game and they only train for this amount of time. To get to the levels they need to get to physically, you have to train really hard, okay? Really tough. I've done some pre-seasons. I remember getting up and thinking, I can't face today. What we're doing today is going to be so demanding on you physically. Now, you put that into a season, then you had games in there, and then you had travelling and everything else. People might go, oh, it's not that bad. It really is. It's a tough. I can remember that feeling. And people, when they first saw me when I was playing in France, and I came back, loads of players had come over, or a few had come home and seen me. They thought I was ill. They looked at me because I was so chiselled everywhere. And I was like, no, this is reason I'm like this is because I've trained as hard as I've ever trained in my life. And I watched Declan Rice all season, literally foot on the pedal, fall down all season.
And listen, he came into this tournament carrying that injury that he carried from January, and he did look less of a player in the second half of the year. And sorry, I slightly misspoke. It was Panama was the game that he was rested for.
And then he came back and he was brilliant against Congo and he was brilliant against Mexico. Yeah. And then Norway again, he looked a bit hurt and he came off at half time.
But
those
two
games were as good as he's
You have to put that in there.
100%.
He wasn't well. He was quite clearly not well, Declan. It was before the game they talked about it. And he, again, there was a reason he came off after 45 minutes because Declan shouldn't have played.
Listen, some people not happy that we're moaning about the third place playoff, that we're moaning about England, taking the handbrake off when it actually doesn't matter, when there's no pressure. Yami, the Wolves fan, says, brilliant game against France, showed what we were missing against Argentina. Throwing this out there, Harry Kane doesn't have the speed, but can pass brilliantly. Should we consider him
No, he doesn't have the
instead of as the 9? Should we actually play him in that role permanently?
Well, England played with speed last night. They had Rashford on one side and Saka the other. And you can see the damage. That's without Anthony Gordon.
If Kane's playing in that game instead of Ivan Toney,
he's scoring
and dropping into the hole like he does, and those are the players running past him.
Yeah,
he could score 2 or 3 last night.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to tell you honestly, Harry Kane had been gutted that he didn't play last night in that game because once he's watching it, he's thinking, "Wow, I would have got some opportunities."
Let's get to the phones. 03717 223344 is the number to call. Rob is a Birmingham fan. Morning, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
How you doing, gang? All right?
Yeah, we're good.
Not bad at all this morning. Love hearing that accent on a Sunday morning.
Okay, a couple of questions for you. First one is just a straight yes or no. Do you think we've underachieved in this World Cup?
No, I don't think England have underachieved. I think they've got things wrong, and that was quite obvious from the manager's perspective against France. But underachieved, no. If you're finishing third, no, I wouldn't say underachieved.
I think if people look at it going into the tournament and you say a third place finish, a semi-final, a lot of people may have taken that. But I am taking it from the perspective of at 60 minutes against Argentina, we are besting the world champions and we could have gone and won that game and should have gone to our first final in 60 years. And so, yes, I think with the context of watching the tournament, we have underachieved.
No, we haven't. I don't agree because we were ranked 4th, we finished 3rd.
That doesn't. The FIFA rankings are nonsense. I'm not having that, Rob.
Why?
Because we should have beaten Argentina. We had it in front of us.
Okay. Just on that, if you say, Will, what you just said, would you said that England were the third best team? Would you say they're the best team?
No,
they quite clearly weren't the best.
That's a very good conversation. The best team often doesn't win the tournament. Yeah. Let's be clear on this. The best team, I think most of us thought were France until they got manhandled.
Well, they were until they got beat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spain beat them, but I wouldn't put England in front of definitely Spain. I think that is quite clear. I wouldn't have put look, when we're looking at the game last night, I have no doubt in my mind if that is under normal circumstances that France probably would have beaten England.
Rob, you said you had a couple of questions.
Yeah, last question now, strikers. Let's move ourselves 2 to 4 years on. Who's playing striker for England?
It's a great question.
Well, it's a question there's no answer at the moment. Honestly.
And, do you think this is a downside now of having too many overseas players where it's not bringing our English players through?
I think that is obviously a big, wider question, but I think we have as talented an England squad as we've had for a very long time, and they are playing at the very top level, and we're seeing more players go abroad than ever before. Obviously, you're seeing that impact on Jude Bellingham, Anthony Gordon now going out to Barcelona as well. I don't think it is an issue with foreign players. I think that's just the nature of modern football, but I do think there is an issue of number 9s, and I don't know what the answer is to that. The fact is,
apart from the experienced ones, there's no young one. You tell me a young number 9, but you go Delap, Liam.
Who's been really disappointing this year.
Yeah, but he was really good at Ipswich, but he would have been seen as one of the major prospects.
But
that hasn't worked out.
Isn't a huge part of this issue that the number 9, the big number 9, has come back into vogue in the last 12 to 24 months. Haaland, Kane, people are actually playing more direct football. People are playing more set pieces. People that's become more of a focus again. And so maybe with that, we'll see another English number 9 emerge. But with the Pep Guardiola ball, with the retention, with the false 9s, with the everything else, actually, young guys coming through aren't being developed into that.
I don't see a bright future unless you've got every attribute as a centre forward. That means you've got to be quick, you've got to be technical, you've got to be good in the air, you've got to lead the line. All these things you've got to have. And they're a really rare breed. Being quick, technical, good in the air. You've got to have all of them things because everybody's playing up front on their own.
Tony Cascarinos don't grow on trees. That's what we're saying. Let's get to Rob. Great call. Let's get to Jill, Man United fan. Morning, Jill.
Morning, Will. Morning, Tony.
How much are you agreeing with us this morning, Jill? It was 99% yesterday.
Well, it's 100% with you, Will. I'm still mad. I've got a couple of points. Mentality. How about a winning mentality to get through to the final? What are we celebrating? Third, it's like getting the wooden spoon. It's like telling little Johnny that it's the taking part that counts, not the winning. It's the winning. Finishing the tournament strong, you finish third.
I'm totally with you. It's the bronze medal is a participation medal. That game, Harry Kane comes out afterwards and says, we showed great mentality in this game. I'm like, I don't care. You showed poor mentality 3 days ago, and that's what matters to me.
Exactly. And Saka, why didn't he start? He scored a hat-trick. They're all running about, jumping up and down. Henderson's coming on, giving them all the talk about how we need to be positive and we're champions. Honestly, it did my head in. Yeah. Honestly, we went out for tapas last night. Come on, Spain, vamos.
Yeah, I tell you what, that was strange when you're seeing Saka look so sharp in the game. And again, going down to how poor the French were, and clearly their attitude, as we heard earlier, that, a disgrace, France.
Saka came out after the game and said, I'm fit, by the way. And he showed it last night. Yeah. How he's not getting a single minute against Argentina is farcical.
It was strange watching, I must admit.
And actually, Jill brings up a really interesting point there. Something else that emerged from the post-game interviews last night. Thomas Tuchel spoke with Faye and spoke about the build-up to this game. And one of the things that has emerged is that Jordan Henderson apparently gave a brilliant rallying cry speech to the team at the hotel ahead of the third-place playoff. Now, don't get me wrong. Jordan Henderson has...
Do you know what? The reason why I'm laughing, Will, I'll just go quickly on this, right? I can imagine the scenario of someone in the dressing rooms that I'd been in over the years, and I'm not saying this right, would have just gone, oh, sit down.
Sit down, Jordan. It's a third-place playoff. It doesn't matter. Like, where is that ahead of Argentina? Where is that with 30 minutes remaining?
It does matter, but it doesn't need a Winston Churchill type of speech for a third-game playoff.
I understand that Jordan...
If you'd have said it before the Argentina game...
100%.
I would have gone, get it. Totally.
Come on. But Jordan Henderson, he's brought out to be a great tourist. He's brought out because he's a great teammate, because he's fun, because he's a guy the lads like to bring around, because he gives a great example of a professional. All of that. Love Jordan Henderson. He's been a brilliant servant for this country and for the teams he's played for. But to celebrate him giving a rallying cry ahead of a third-place playoff when the mentality we showed at the end of that Argentina game was as poor as it was, he's just like, it's after the Lord Mayor's show. It's a complete...
I never do this. I never do this, Will. I think we need to have a break.
I need to go and have a lie down for 2 minutes. This is the Weekend World Cup Sports Breakfast. We'll continue on this topic and, of course, build up to Spain-Argentina live on talkSPORT tonight from 8.
I wasn't overly enamoured with what we were doing anyway. I've spoken freely on this marvellous channel that we're on and, on talkSPORT regularly and said, look, it's not as good as what everyone was making out, I didn't think, and that's nothing against the manager, Thomas Tuchel, nothing at all. It's just that I didn't think, I wasn't thinking we were blowing teams away and we were purring, but we were finding a way, and that's equally fair to say. That's a brilliant thing to have, of course, if you're not playing brilliantly, but you're winning games. Now, that's a great habit. We all know that. So I don't think I was too... I try to give balance to my comments about these things, and I didn't think we were magnificent anyway. There was a lot of talk about this feel, and the feel was better. I wasn't having that bit. I was going, oh, come on, do me a favour. And I've spoken freely on, I think it was with Simon and Jim about, Gareth's time, and they were sort of suggesting I was supporting him because I'm his mate and all that. I wasn't. I was just calling it how I think it was. I don't think there's radical change. I had a big debate with Simon about it on their show and said, look, I don't think there's radical change. Simon was saying there is, and he's a master tactician and that's fine, by the way. I've got no problem with people's comments because we're here now talking about it. But I did say on that show, I did say to Simon, I said, Simon, there's nothing radically changed here. You know, if you cut through the noise and you go, in balance to that side of it, which I have been intrigued with, is I do think this is the best opportunity we've had, certainly in my lifetime, I think it's the best opportunity we've ever had to win the World Cup. Not because we're amazing, but because the other superpowers are not as superpowered as what they were. France were flying. I think we're all shocked by that one because they were the ones who you thought, right, okay, they're what we think they should be, apart from their last game. And equally, you know, you look at them and they are superpowered. And yet, you look at their last game.
Producer Sam has just used an excellent phrase for it. The semi-finals was par for England. That is exactly where we kind of expect to be. It's a little bit like...
It was a bogey. It wasn't a par.
But I'll take that all day long, to be honest.
Double bogey.
Yeah. I mean, and that's playing off my handicap. So a double bogey for me is playing like 11 or 12. Not very well.
No.
Not very well at all. Yeah. I'm no scratch golfer, that's for sure.
That feeling when you come on and someone says, how many points did you get? Or, you know, what score? And you go, no, I blobbed on this hole. Sorry.
I didn't play this one at all. That is the point. Right, okay. Listen, some strong calls there. Brilliant stuff. 03717 22 3344 is the number to call. Some of the other headlines this morning: Argentina's rugby union players wore replicas of the '86 World Cup kit last night, but they lost, so it doesn't matter. Great Britain's Josh Kerr has smashed the long-standing men's mile world record by nearly half a second after a spectacular performance at London Diamond League, finishing in a time of 3 minutes 42 seconds and 66 milliseconds.
That's mental.
And world number 2 golfer Rory McIlroy has spoken after shooting a 1-under on day 3 of the Open at Royal Birkdale. The Grand Slam winner has slammed Bryson DeChambeau's actions, which saw the American penalised for breaking tournament rules on day 2.
You know, I won't pretend to be up here and defend Bryson. I'm not particularly fond of him. I think a lot of it's performative. I think a lot of it's for attention. And yeah, you know, to hold the tournament hostage like that and have all of us, volunteers, players, everyone waiting on him to depart, I didn't feel like it was a great look.
Strong from Rory McIlroy. I'll get Cass's thoughts on that shortly. Don't forget the final day of the Open. One of the great days in sport is coming up for you live from 9 a.m. over on talkSPORT 2. Full pitch by putt, by swing, by whatever they call it, commentary. But first, let's take a look at some of the South American teams in this tournament. 6 of the 10 South American nations secured a place at this World Cup. To talk to us about how they got on, journalist, author and Latin football expert Andreas Campomar joins us now. Morning, Andreas. How are you, sir?
Andreas?
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, we're good, thank you.
We're having fun this morning. It's getting sparky in the studio, at least South American.
I can imagine.
At least
I watched a bit last night. I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing. Seemed a bit ridiculous.
Exactly. It was a testimonial. It was Soccer Aid. It was a pre-season friendly. It was, you know...
It was a bit like watching Brazil. Oh.
Yes.
I think we need to start on South America. Not so much Argentina, because we talked the failings first. I was quite shocked about Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil are poor. I mean, I think one of the problems with a lot of these Latin American countries is that, and I can tell this is true of, especially of Uruguay, where I'm from, is they didn't play in their national style. And this is one thing we've seen with Argentina, is Argentina have played in their own style, which is La Nuestra. So they look very much like an Argentine team. And they've got all the kind of failings of an Argentine team, but all the advantages as well. And I think that's true of a lot of Latin American teams, that they need to play in their national styles. And I think maybe that's one of the things that could be levelled at England, is that what is an England, national style?
What is I mean, we could all see what an Argentine national style is. I think that's fair to say ahead of the final today. But overall, beyond Brazil, how disappointed were you with some of the other performances? I look at Uruguay with Bielsa and how that ended. Like, it felt like overall it was a bit of an like Colombia looked brilliant in the opening game and then couldn't buy a goal for love nor money. Ecuador a little bit the same. Like, it felt a little bit like a tournament that was disappointing for most of the continent beyond Argentina.
Well, also, you would think that in a tournament held in the Americas, it's a tournament in which Latin American teams would do very well because, they always feel they have home advantage there. I think they've all been rather kind of disappointing, bar Argentina. I thought Mexico played well, but Mexico have kind of lots of frailties as well. And actually, when it comes down to it, they are a quarterfinal team at best. And I think many of these teams ended up being kind of just round of 16 or quarterfinal teams. They couldn't get further than that, bar Argentina.
Yeah. I've been lucky enough in my career to play alongside and against Central American, South American, and I've always said one of the biggest myths is how tough they can be. I played with a good few and I was surprised at the toughness in, that part of the world where the winning mentality and the desire to be really hard to play against. And Paraguay, obviously, were one of the best at doing that, upsetting the opposition, whether you liked it or not. But that type of energy that they always bring to the table.
Yes, I mean, certain teams are better in it than others. I think Paraguay were very good in the way they nullified France. Uruguay, apart from that ridiculous spill by Muslera, the Uruguayan goalkeeper, really did make it very hard for Spain. And I think Argentina tonight will make it hard for Spain as well. They are very tough. They grow up in environments where you have to be tough. You've got to be skillful, but also you've got to be tough as well. But also we must remember that lots of these players, they're born in Latin America, but they're kind of made in Europe. So they understand the European game as well. But there is a mentality from back home, which is to be very tough, to make it very hard for the opposition. And also that's one of the things I love about the Latin American game is it can be very dirty, but I think that's part of football, isn't it? I mean, that should be part of the game, that you should make it tough for the opposition.
Is that how Argentina win tonight? If they win, is it getting down and dirty, getting in the muck and dragging Spain in there with them?
Yes, I think so. I think, also, I think that's what they need to do. And it's not they can't play pretty football, but actually they will make it very hard for them. And also, I think psychologically, the way the Argentines are set up is probably, I mean, they rate Spain, but at the same time, they don't rate Spain. Because for them, before 2010, Spain were nothing. I mean, they had a few, European championships, but actually fundamentally, they think they're better than them. They think that they're the best team in Latin America. They think they're better than Brazil. And also they think they're better than most European teams. I think for them, for the Argentines, England were harder psychologically. And there were a huge number of mistakes that the English made. And I think one of them was that actually they didn't take the game to Argentina. And it's one thing that Latin Americans don't like, is they don't like a quick tempoed game.
Andreas Campomar, wonderful stuff from you. Thank you so much for joining us on the World Cup weekend breakfast. Tim Vickery will be here a little bit later to look forward to the final itself. Argentina, what we can expect, Lionel Messi's legacy, all of that as well. Plus, we'll look back on last night with Alex Crook joining the show. He's back in the country. Is he still wearing the cowboy hat? Is he still clinging to the Americana? And don't forget, you can get in touch with the show. 0371722 3344 is the number to call here on the World Cup Weekend Breakfast.
It's 25 minutes. You're playing against Argentina, and you've just gone, here, There you go.
I'm
go
so
on, just attack
disappointed.
us. Attack v defence.
Do you know what, Jay? I can't believe I'm having this conversation about Tuchel. I cannot believe I'm having this conversation.
Sack him. Sack him.
It's just rinse and repeat as England, and I don't know whether he looked back on that Mexico game and got drawn into how comfortable he felt. No, Jay, I'm not giving you an answer. I'm trying to find a reason. I'm trying to get into his head. I don't know the answer, Jay. Any more than you. Don't, Jay. I'm trying to find a reason.
But why put Bellingham on the left?
Jay, I don't know.
Why not bring Rashford on?
I don't know.
Why not bring Saka on?
I don't know.
What was he thinking?
I don't know.
What's he thinking?
I'm trying to get into Tuchel's head because the lads were dead on their feet. And if you're going to go to 5 at the back, which I kind of understand in one way, I do. But what you need to do is help help the back 5, because if they can't get out, you literally are on the edge of your box, and you can't defend all the time like that. You need pressure on the ball. You need players to get out, and also you need an out ball. We had no out ball. Nothing. But I can't believe you said
that's coaching 101. That's literally coaching. We are sat there, 2 donuts, all right, in the Redwood. 2 people that sit on here, all right? We ain't coaches. We know football. He's the top level England manager, and the whole nation can see that we were camped in, and everyone's screaming, "Make a sub, give us an out."
I don't get it, Jay. I don't get it.
The 1982 World Cup gave us maybe the biggest redemption story in football. But to truly appreciate the rise of Paolo Rossi, we also have to understand his fall. 4 years earlier, in 1978, a 21-year-old Rossi was the next big thing in Italian football. His poacher's instinct in front of goal earned him a reputation, and he was constantly surrounded. Despite that, Rossi scored 3 goals as Italy secured a 4th-place finish. Then, in 1980, Italy was rocked by one of the most famous match-fixing scandals in football history, Toto Nero. It started when a market trader in Rome approached a restaurant owner whose venue was popular with professional footballers. The plan was simple: run an illegal betting operation where the public placed bets, not knowing that the players who ate at the restaurant were getting a cut to deliver certain results. The house and the players would always win. And it was all being run out of a Roman eatery. When a whistleblower went to the police, though, Rossi was suspended from football for 3 years. He consistently denied being involved and eventually had his ban reduced to 2 years. That allowed him to join Juventus for the final 3 games of the 82 season and win Serie A. And in those 3 games, Italy manager Enzo Bezzo saw a spark. Rossi was included in the World Cup squad and then the starting 11. In the groups, he did nothing. No goals, no assists, and the Italian public was begging for him to be dropped. Bear in mind, he played the likes of Peru and Cameroon and OK, Argentina. By the way, spot the very young Diego Maradona. Then, out of nowhere, he got a hat-trick against Brazil, another 2 in the semi-finals, and the opener in the final. Not only did he lift the trophy, he won the Golden Boot and the Golden Ball. It was maybe the biggest one-tournament turnaround the World Cup has ever seen. The whole story is so gloriously Italian, and considering he never played in a World Cup ever again, maybe it's one of football's greatest fairy tales.
Oh, what a beautiful morning! That was just for Tony Cascarino. It's a stunning day outside in London. I hope it is wherever you are right now across the UK and I'm sure internationally. I'm sure people are listening to us the whole world over. Biggest sports radio station in the world, Tony Cascarino.
Yes, good morning. And to be honest, Will, I never know what you're going to do sometimes. It's quite strange. I never know what's going to come.
Yeah, no, neither do I. That's the problem. I'm third place Will Gavin, and with me is the former Millwall and Chelsea striker Tony Cascarino. England turned it on to finish their World Cup in style. Here's how Bellingham's goal, the 6th for England, sounded live on talkSPORT. Or not.
Takes it on the outside, comes in field, brilliant from Bellingham. Oh, wonderful from Jude Bellingham. That is why he is one of the best in the world.
03717223344. Was it nonsense? Are you into it? Are you behind this 6-4? We're going to talk about it. Alex Crook's coming up. Harry Kane spoke to talkSPORT after the game, and he thinks they can take positive vibes from this tournament after all.
Everyone's still trying to process what happened the other night, and you have this game in between that, it's not ideal for both teams, but I think the team with the best mentality won today.
The best mentality in a third-place playoff. What is the world coming to? Argentina face Spain in the final game of the World Cup tonight, the one that actually matters. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank has told us he knows what he wants the result to be.
I want Spain to win. After seeing how Argentina beat England and also 4 years ago against the Dutch.
Well, we'll be bringing you all the build-up to the final and so much more. We're going to look back on the PDC Darts, the Open today, live from 9 a.m. over on talkSPORT 2. Send us a text. Let us know how you're feeling this morning. 81089. You can give us a call on 0371722 3344, and you can find out our WhatsApp there as well. It's the World Cup weekend breakfast on talkSPORT. Steve says it's not the fact that semi-final isn't par for England, it's the fact that we had that semi-final in our grasp and we threw it away. That's what makes it a failure. Couldn't agree more, Steve. Couldn't agree more.
Yes,
Slipped through our fingers.
It's going to rumble on, that's for sure. It's going to keep rumbling on. And it didn't do England any favours last night, as much as they won the game, 6-4. Still to this day, I can't. How can I? As I said, I've played over 700 games and never, experienced that type of result, a 6-4.
I think the only time
international football, a third and fourth place match. Come on.
The only time I've ever been to a game
French word disgrace
that was that wild was when Arsenal beat Reading. Was it 7-4? 7-5. Yeah, 7-5 in the League Cup. And I went. I'm a Reading fan, and I'm from Reading originally. But actually, I went to that game as a kind of through talkSPORT invite by Carabao type thing, and I was sat next to Tony Adams, who at 4-0 down to Reading left. and we went on to lose 7-5 to them. That's the only time I've ever experienced that.
But it can't happen. Them results can't happen.
No, it was absolutely, absolutely wild. Right, let's start with the game last night, this hour, and let's get to talkSPORT chief football correspondent. Is he still wearing the hat? Alex Crook.
Disappointingly, Will, I'm not still wearing the hat, but I am on 10 till 1 tomorrow, and it is going to make an appearance.
Yeah, that's what we want to hear. Texas Crookie.
Crookie, I was saying earlier that I can't believe that result last night. And I said to Will and I said to Sam, our producer, I said, imagine if England were 4-0 down and have ended up losing 6-4. Imagine the reaction from the public in this country. And I'm only saying it because there has to be that in France as well, because I can't believe how terrible France were in the first half. And when Harry Kane says, we won the game, we had the better mentality, he's literally putting the knife into the French team's mentality.
Massively so. A bit of a disclaimer from me. I only managed to stay awake until the second goal because jet lag got me at that point. So I've just caught up on the highlights this morning. And as you say, a ridiculous game, ridiculous scoreline. But a pathetic performance from France in that first half. They only really turned up in the second half, and they were obviously determined to try and get Kylian Mbappe the golden boot. And Elise's missed a massive chance, hasn't he, to get it back to 4-4 just before England go up the other end and score again. So, yeah, a crazy game. That mentality comment has annoyed me no end from Harry Kane, because where was that mentality to see out the game against Argentina. And I've woken up this morning even more angry.
A lot of people have, Crookie.
Yeah. You're speaking to at least one of them. I am livid this morning, Crookie. I'm not going to lie.
Bukayo Saka scores a hat-trick in a meaningless game. Why wasn't he on the pitch against Argentina when it actually mattered? Declan Rice, fit enough to play the full 90 minutes, scores a superb goal to open the scoring in what will be a 10-goal thriller. Why wasn't he fit enough to play the 90 minutes against Argentina? So many question marks for me. Where was that front foot aggressive football when they needed the second goal against Argentina? And Thomas Tuchel, I've seen more comments this morning claiming the reaction to that defeat to Argentina is, quotes, as if England went out in the group stage. No, it isn't, Thomas. It's because you blew the best opportunity we've had since 1966 to get to a World Cup final. Let that sink into your head and start showing some contrition, please.
I want to offer you up a quote, because I'm assuming you won't have seen it if you didn't stay up for the game last night. Because Anthony Barry, I think, has won a lot of new fans this tournament with his halftime conversations, with his forthrightness, his frankness. I got to tell you, Crookie, at 4-0 up at halftime, I thought Anthony Barry was going to cry. He was so proud of the performance. He said, I'm a little bit emotional. I'm struggling to find the words to describe how proud I am of these players. They're playing this game with broken hearts. The team spirit we've built the last 7 weeks, it's a privilege to watch. And then we got Jordan Henderson apparently giving some rallying cry speech ahead of this game as well. Why are we doing this all for a third-place playoff and behaving like we did in that last half an hour against Argentina?
Goodness only knows. And actually, I've seen Simon Jordan on social media react to that from Anthony Barry, and I've got to say, he has gone two-footed, no question about that. It's a mockery. Yeah, okay, it's our best finish at a World Cup since 1966. Nobody cares. We're all still reeling from what happened in Atlanta, and beating the French, a French team who didn't want to be there for 45 minutes, 6-4, doesn't ease that pain in any way.
We better move on to some transfers, and Morgan Rogers will...
just before we do, can I read a text out from Andy from Hamilton?
Go on, do what you want, Will. You normally do.
Because it's really great. Tony, just let me read this. That game last night was like a professional golfer shooting a 59 at Birkdale on Monday. And he's absolutely right. That's exactly what it's like.
That was worth reading.
Pointless. Yeah, thank you. I thought so. Right, let's move on to Morgan Rogers.
Go on, let's talk Morgan Rogers. Obviously, Middlesbrough will be quite happy as well, Crookie.
Yeah, I think they get 15 million quid there or thereabouts from their sell-on.
Yeah.
This is a move that's come somewhat out of the blue, because I felt for the last few weeks the direction of travel was that Morgan Rogers ends up at Arsenal. I know that his advisors have been in talks with Arsenal for quite a few weeks now, but I'm not sure that Arsenal were willing to pay the asking price of Chelsea of season opportunity, £117 million, a British record fee, and he's on his way to Stamford Bridge. I think Arteta is going to be really disappointed, because Rodgers was his top target. Arsenal could offer Champions League football. Chelsea, of course, can't offer European football of any form. But from an Aston Villa perspective, this should give them the platform now to go on and find their way around the financial issues they've had with UEFA in particular, and be able to bring in reinforcements. They need them, don't they? Because they've not only lost Morgan Rogers, they've lost Yuri Tillemans to Manchester United. Luca Digne is on his way to Paris Saint-Germain. Those are three players who were so key for Villa last season in terms of winning that European trophy and qualifying for the Champions League.
I could just add, Lucas Digne going to PSG. Mendes, he's not getting even nowhere near the first team.
No, they've brought back.
He's basically going as a second-string left-back.
Yeah, it's a strange career move for him, because obviously he could stay at Villa and play Champions League football, but I guess the lure of the European champions, the back-to-back Champions League winners is too strong. I think the most perplexing thing there is how low the sell-on or the release clause is for Aston Villa. Less than £10 million. It's almost worth not the paper it's written on for Aston Villa.
Crookie, with a man with his fingers on the pulse, as you do, how out of the blue did this Chelsea bid come? Because it seemed pretty out of left field to a lot of us. But also, what does it say that you've got a chance to move to the Champions of England, where you're going to play a starring role, and yet Xabi Alonso is the manager you want to go and play for?
I think that's certainly a big draw, but I think also Morgan Rogers maybe got a bit frustrated knowing that he was Arsenal's top target and they've been dragging their heels over the fee. But literally, Chelsea have come in the last 72 hours. He's been on their list historically, but I think we all assume that because they hadn't qualified for the Champions League, this was a non-starter. I was told last night it's a move very much driven by Joe Shields, who is one of the senior recruiters now at Chelsea and worked with Morgan Rogers in Manchester City's academy. So as much as Alonso has played a part, I think Joe Shields has as well.
Wonderful. Look, one question is what it means for Ezri Konsa now, because there was some talk about Arsenal switching attention to Ezri Konsa. William Saliba going to miss a chunk of the season by the sounds of it with this injury he's picked up for France. Do Aston Villa still need to sell him? And if not, how big does that fee get if they're going to let him go?
No, I think they'll be in a stronger position to keep Ezri Konsa now. And actually the fact that they feel Arsenal maybe tried to lowball them over Morgan Rogers might make Villa less determined to do business. I guess it will come down to the player, won't it? How much he wants to push for that move. But certainly with this £117 million banked for Morgan Rogers, Villa don't seem to be under any financial pressure to sell any more star players. In fact, I think the attention will now turn to how they replace those that have departed and build a squad for Unai Emery to compete on multiple fronts next season.
Yeah. Great stuff, Crookie.
I do want to ask one final one. What about the ultimate... Producer Sam told me to ask this. This isn't me breaking late. Cass is getting so, he just thinks it's hilarious.
I saw
those England-France defenders last night. What's going on?
Listen, it's a loose breakfast this morning. It's the World Cup final today. Let everyone enjoy
I don't even know what
themselves.
time it is, to be fair, so I'm all for it.
The ultimate attacking bridesmaid, Marcus Rashford. Any chance Arsenal come in for him?
Well, I always thought Chelsea might, actually. But now they've got Morgan Rogers, probably not. The latest name I've heard in terms of Rashford is Fenerbahce over in Turkey. How keen he would be to make that move, I don't know. But they do pay big salaries, which obviously is going to play a part. I think he did all right last night, Rashford. There was one lovely turn he did on the edge of the area and got a shot away that was tipped over the bar. So, listen, when it comes to Marcus Rashford, very talented footballer. I think attitude and application is the problem. And if you are a suitor of Marcus Rashford, I think the big question you would ask is, why did Barcelona, rather than paying 26 million to make his loan move permanent, why did they go and pay 70 million quid for his England teammate Anthony Gordon? That would be a big red flag for me.
Do I get one quick last question?
If you want, go on.
Quickly, did you like the food out in America?
That's not going to be a quick question. It's Crookie.
Do you know what, Cass? I actually didn't. I was not a fan of the American food. I can count about 6 meals that I actually enjoyed, but that didn't take away from the overall experience. I've had the best summer of my life, and it was a bit of a come down landing at Heathrow yesterday. I can tell you.
Your missus would be delighted with that. If you've been on holidays in the summer.
Listen.
She's still in bed.
Listen, I'm very impressed, Crookie, because Crookie's had a real glow up. He's worked really hard. He looks absolutely sensational. I don't know anyone who's ever been to America for 6, 7, 8 weeks and not come back adding at least 2 stone to their weight. So you've done a brilliant job, Crookie. Well done, sir. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. We'll get the latest odds with Dave Stevens and Coral up next.
We've been talking all morning about Thomas Tuchel. We've been talking all week about him and the fact that he's questioned England's DNA, whatever that may be. He said, I think ball possession plays a crucial role. It's maybe not in our DNA as it is in the Spanish or Brazilian or Argentinian DNA. To take the ball and control the game and the ball, which is a big problem. What do you make of that, Ben?
Watching the Spain game the other night against France, that's how you keep the ball. And I think it comes down to bravery. We've got the players to do it, we've got the ability to do it, but it comes down to bravery. And I think once them England players put that shirt on, when it comes to the crunch moments, that's the bit that is lacking a little bit. We've definitely got the ability to do it. We've got the players to be able to do it. You watch Spain, and when they went 2-0 up, even when they were 1-0 up, they just kept doing it. You've got Fabian Ruiz and Rodri in the central midfield. At one point, they're playing two-touch over the French midfield. They're keeping the ball nice and calm. And I'm just thinking...
They had a good structure as well, though.
Really good structure, but they're drilled on it. And there's a lot of people saying, well, why can't we be drilled on it?
You've got to want the ball as well.
You've got to want it, but it's bravery, isn't it?
It is.
And bravery comes in a load of different forms. People think bravery might be a Dan Burn getting his head, and it is a form of bravery, but when it comes to the crunch moments, it's that calmness under pressure in the big calm moments where you've got to go, right, just woof, woof. And I think Argentina a bit, look at Messi, see how calm he is. And I think that filters through the team as well.
Yeah, he can carry you out of trouble, Messi, can't he? Give him the ball, he carries it up the pitch, he takes the pressure on. That's what we were lacking as well, just an individual who just could carry it up.
Oh, it'd be lovely if we had one of them. One or two of them at home, I think.
Oh, these bit of vagues, he took Gordon off, and I think Gordon's grown into the tournament, I thought, because he had a lot going on at the beginning, you know, which I spoke of, because with the move and all that sort of stuff, a lot to handle, if you like. But I think he's grown into it.
Get ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Tonight, oh, down beside that red firelight.
You're playing Alex Crook's music as Section Late, guys. I mean that with so much love, Crookie, if you're still listening.
Well, this is a great one as well.
It's a banger. It's a banger, Cass. Absolutely having it. We're going to have more Queen this morning.
Don't
That's
Stop
fine.
Me Now. That's another great classic. Don't Stop Me Now.
Great.
Love that one.
You are listening to the World Cup Weekend Breakfast with me, third place Will Gavin, and shampoo and set specialist Tony Cascarino.
Shampoo and set.
Shampoo and set. That's who you are, apparently. It's Brian May's birthday. The boys behind the glass are trying desperately to keep me on side and on time. Right, that's nothing to do with our next guest, of course. So let's get the latest odds with Coral.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here to reward the fans this summer. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Dave Stevens is in the house. Dave, I'll try and listen to you today and not ask the same question that you've already answered, I promise.
Oh, Dave, I've got to get there.
Good morning, Will. Morning, Cass.
I've got to ask you straight away. Did anybody have 6-4 England? And what was the price? Come on, you must have had someone.
Yeah, I've just asked the question. Pre-match, it was 300 to 1. They're just having a look through it. It's the sort of thing that people might have had a couple of quid on during the match when the goals were raining in. But yeah, 300 to 1, 6-4. Nobody got that pre-match. But as I say, there might be someone out there. But I've never known England score 6 goals, win a game, and yet the reaction has been so, dismissive. And I get it. Because it was a game too late for a start, wasn't it? And it was a France side that did not want to be there. I know Mbappe got his couple of goals that should probably seal top scorer for him.
Does that feel just, David, that he could win it? If he does win it, that doesn't feel right to me.
In what respect, Cass?
Well, the fact that the game third and fourth place, both teams have actually been knocked out, and then they've ended up being the Golden Boot winner.
Those goals don't go towards potentially winning the World Cup. That's my issue with it.
I just don't get that logic. I think that's unfair.
But are you then taking the issue that the only players that could win that are those that are playing in the fight?
Well, still in the tournament, yeah.
Look, I mean, it's a really interesting point. I mean, it is called the bronze final, isn't it? So FIFA would say it is part of the... Look, I made my views clear yesterday. I thought it was a load of rubbish, and even 10 goals don't change my mind on that. I just wanted one final thing before we go on to the game. the word of the tournament from an England perspective, mentality. I mean, are the players on a bonus to say the word mentality? What does it mean? What does it mean?
It didn't mean anything on Wednesday night, I tell you that for Bobbins.
Exactly. But let's move on to the big one tonight. Spain, this is to lift the trophy. This fundamentally is what matters. 4-7 Spain. And I think that's right. 6-5 Argentina. Cass, Will, the right team of favourites, particularly off the back of that brilliant semi-final win over France.
Yeah, I think they are the favourites, Spain. I'm really interested, Dave, of the approach of Argentina, which we know will be physical, and how will Spain handle it?
Yeah, you would think they've got enough now to Spanish, but you're right. Look, I actually thought Argentina played better against England in the second half when they tried to play football rather than the first half when they just tried to, spoil it up a bit. Just quickly, in terms of 90-minute betting, 5-4 Spain again favourites, 5-2 Argentina, 2-1 the draw. All eyes are going to be on Lionel Messi. He's 6-4 to score any time. He's 17-2 to score 2 or more. He's 28-1 to get a hat-trick that would see him overtake Kylian Mbappe, obviously. For Spain, Lamine Yamal is 12-5 to score any time. If you do think it's going to be 6-4 to Spain, 250 to 1, 6-4 Argentina, 300 to 1. But I want to put you both on the line here. No messing around. Let's have your correct score prediction for this final tonight. Come on, get off the fence.
I'll go 1-1 full time. Spain win it in extra time.
1-1 full time is 9-2. That's actually the shortest price outcome, Cass. So
I know
we are in full agreement with you. We are in full agreement with you. Will, are you disagreeing or agreeing?
2-0 Spain to dominate in the 90 and make the Spaniards. No, do you know what? I want them to whack them. Let's have 3. Let's have 3-0 Spain. Come on.
3-0 Spain is 16-1. For what it's worth, I was going to agree with you at 2-0. 17-2. Look, are we going to get a classic like we did 4 years ago? We'd be lucky if we do, but I don't know. I just go back to that game last night and just wonder where it was when we needed it on Wednesday night. But there we go. There's a mystery I can't solve.
Yeah, I don't think any of us can, and I think we're right to be annoyed about it this morning, despite some of the texts disagreeing with us. We'll get to those in a moment. Before we let you go, though, Dave, starting live in half an hour's time over on talkSPORT 2, the final round of the Open. Intriguing final day set up for us.
Yeah, I think so. Look, Sam Burns has the 2-shot lead, but he's odds against 5-4 to win. Obviously, we know how things can change in an Open. Siwoo Kim 5-1, Ryan Fox 8-1, Bryson DeChambeau hanging on in there 14-1, and Tommy Fleetwood 20-1, which actually the biggest odds Tommy's been throughout this tournament. He has got it to do, but he's in there with a shout, which is the main thing. And look, a couple of other events today before we build up to the football and the final few holes in the Open. England are 4-5 to win this one-day series against India. India even money. Joe Root, so important. He's 9-4 to top score for England once again. And there is the Belgian Grand Prix, of course. Kimi Antonelli, we mentioned yesterday, was favourite to secure pole. He duly did so. He's 2-5 to convert that into a race win. But Max Verstappen's breathing down his neck, 7-2. George Russell, 10-1. Lewis Hamilton, 16-1. So what a great day of sport it is.
Wow. Cannot wait. That was a look at the latest odds with Coral. 18 plus. Be gambleaware.org. Please gamble responsibly.
The Coral Daily Download on talkSPORT with Coral. We're here to reward the fans this summer. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
Big thanks to Dave Stevens. More build up to the World Cup final up next here on the World Cup Weekend Breakfast on talkSPORT.
To go, mate. I'm sorry, Jeff. Like, when we are paying £8 million for a foreign coach to come in and win us our first trophy since 1966, and that's what he does in a semi-final for an Argentinian side that were there for the taking, and to do what he did 10 times worse than anything Southgate's ever done negatively. I'm sorry, he has to go, mate. Simple as that. The FA have to make a decision, and I just didn't like his interview, the arrogance of his interview. No regrets. Yes, you have got regrets, mate. You've got regrets. There was loads of trouble after the game across the country. Everyone was together. And that's on you, Thomas Tuchel. That's on you. The negativity, cowardly tactics. You can't blame the players. I'm hearing people say, Jeff, that, the players on the pitch have got to make decisions. There's some experience. No, you listen to your coach. Your coach tells you to play a certain formation. You listen to him.
Yeah.
He has to go. Simple as that. No foreign coach ever won the World Cup. Maybe for a reason. We've given it a go now again with a foreign coach, and that's what he's done.
I mean, Alan here has just tested the same sort of thing that you were saying. So Tuchel's shortcomings have been exposed. What about the players' shortcomings? Well, look, the players, we've got 6 defenders on. We've got 4 central defenders on at the end for the cross that Messi puts into Laura Martinez. So, yes, I get that. But ultimately, the can has to be carried by the coach, especially with the negativity. I mean, look, everybody said this. But the negative... Anthony Gordon is flying. We scored a brilliant goal. Brilliant goal. You'll have loved, the fact that Kane... Declan Rice, who's soon to come off as well. Morgan Rogers. And a lovely finish to Anthony Gordon. And Gordon's feeling 10 feet tall, so what do we do? Oh, we'll take him off.
Morning! You're listening to the World Cup Weekend Breakfast with me, Will, Gavin, and Bromley's favourite son, Tony Cascarino.
Good morning.
There we go. I just wanted a little bit of that in my life. Here are some of the other headlines you're waking up to this morning. Bukayo Saka has revealed he wanted to play more at the World Cup after scoring a hat-trick to earn England a bronze medal against France. While our attention may have been elsewhere this week, Formula One has arrived in the forests of Europe for one of its most iconic races, the Belgian Grand Prix. Our very own Tom Clayton watched qualifying yesterday.
Well, there was drama even before qualifying started in Belgium. A crash in final practice for Lewis Hamilton meant his mechanics had a job on to get his Ferrari back out there. They managed, but Hamilton could only drag the car to 6th. Top of the pile once again was championship leader Kimi Antonelli, who sealed pole ahead of Max Verstappen by 0.3 of a second. Lando Norris was 3rd, ahead of an underpowered George Russell in 4th, but Norris will serve a 10-place grid penalty for changing his power unit elements. It's a 2 p.m. start as Formula One's back in the Ardennes Forest. We'll have live updates on talkSPORT.
Beautiful stuff. Updates on talkSPORT from Tom a little bit later today. I have made a decision, Cass, in the last 3 minutes.
Go on.
Listening to our wonderful newsreader reading the sport, I'm going to refuse to refer to it as England's greatest ever World Cup finish. Because we've lost 4 semi-finals since 1966.
Yeah.
And that to me means it's equal to those other 3 occasions. 3rd place playoff. If I'm saying that game means nothing, which I believe it doesn't, I refuse to say, oh, well, this was better than 2018 or this was better than 1990. To me, it's exactly the same. We lost a semi-final. That's what matters.
How many goals did England concede in the tournament now?
Including last night.
Yeah.
13.
Oh, we're including the goals for Mbappe. We have to include the goals for against us.
Yeah, there we go. So 13 goals conceded in this tournament.
Quite a few, isn't it?
Quite a few people getting in touch with us on the text. Particular favourite of mine from Mike. Well, you lot are a barrel of laughs. He said it was a competitive game and the English boys did well. That's entertainment. I'm not denying it was entertaining. I'm not denying that for...
It was fabulously entertaining.
2 hours I was laughing and joking and having fun with it. But also there was a seething rage just bubbling up.
Well, no, the rage is coming from because, as you just alluded, what Saka said he'd like to play more. Okay, why didn't he play more? Because what we saw last night, it was a very fit-looking Bukayo Saka. And okay, he gets goals in the game, but his performance, he caused France a lot of problems. And Andes got dragged at half time because he couldn't handle Saka, you know. And Rice, that's another one. He's played 90 minutes. So there's more questions that are being posed now about where was that, you know, a few days before.
Tony Cascarino speaking straight facts. Could not agree with you more, mate. Mike said, I thought Rashford and Saka were tops, played well together. Things went downhill when they came off. One coming in from Griffin Kings Lynn saying, just brilliant show. Appreciate that. But also, we have one coming in saying, Cass, this is on the topic of Kylian Mbappe and you not wanting the goals from last night to stand.
Yeah.
And I did hear
I say stand. I just think it's I understand the reasons why that he's still the 3rd and 4th place game is part of the tournament. But I just find it really weird that the guy who could win the tournament, who might say Lionel Messi, ends up coming 2nd for the top goal scorer when there's a game that's actually by 2 teams that have been knocked out.
Already knocked out. And that... So I heard Jim Proudfoot make this argument on the talkSPORT Daily, which, by the way, get wherever you get your podcast. It's sensational stuff. If you're not going to count that game, should we also remove goals if they're scored in dead rubber games at the end of groups? Particularly now they've gone to head-to-head instead of goal difference.
Well, no, that's taking it to an extreme.
He claims it's still a game at the World Cup. It should still count.
No, but them teams are still in the tournament. That's the difference. France and England were both eliminated, obviously, by Spain and Argentina. And then there's a game that's just been added, obviously, and it's part of the tournament. But I just don't think the Golden Boot should go down to the guy that gets 2 goals in. Because, look, Lionel Messi might score 2 tonight, and then that argument's just, it's not important anymore. But if he does win the Golden Boot, I think that's wrong.
We'll have more build-up coming for the World Cup final, live on talkSPORT, kick-off at 8 p.m. tonight. So it's time to look ahead on High Pressure Picks with Shaw.
High Pressure Picks on talkSPORT with Shaw. Non-stop protection deodorant that won't ever let you down.
So the European champions take on the reigning world champions. It's the first time in World Cup history that has happened. 39-year-old Lionel Messi faces 19-year-old Lamine Yamal.
Yeah.
Not directly, but you surely, I know you're not on social media, I know you rally against it, but surely you've seen the picture of Lionel Messi.
Yes, I have, yeah.
Bathing 5-month-old Yamal as part of a charity photo shoot back in 2007. Now it will be their first ever meeting on the pitch in New York. Joining us now for more on the Spanish side of things is Spanish football journalist and commentator John Hernandez. Very good morning to you, John. How are you doing?
Hi, John.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Yeah, we're good. John, I wanted to ask you first up. I mean, look, in England, before that England played Norway, there was a conversation, it's Haaland versus Kane. And that sort of didn't really happen. Is that the sort of idea that's happening in Spain in the media, where it's Yamal against Messi?
Well, it's part of the story, a big story that the game came across tonight. Definitely it's an historic game, and a big part of that that's Lamine Yamal, Leo Messi battle, but it's not the only one, obviously, because it's an historic game. There is a world champions title at stake, and definitely there is more than Lamine Yamal and Leo Messi story, but yeah, it's a big part of the game, that's for sure.
Who do you think is under the most pressure today for Spain?
Well, probably is the Lamine Yamal itself, because he's not doing the best tournament that everyone could expect it from him, because he's the main star of Spain and he needs to perform at his best. He's only 19, and obviously you cannot put all the pressure in the kid, because he's a kid at the end of the day, but he showed during the last 2-3 years in Barcelona and in the national team of Spain too, that he's able to lead the team. And tonight is a big day. It's the biggest day of the story of Spain. Probably it's one of the biggest, alongside the 2010 when Spain lived his first world champion.
Yeah. Look, going back to the French game, it felt like after watching it that the French actually were the perfect opponent for Spain. And the way Spain won is they literally, I don't think anybody could have imagined how dominant Spain were over France. And can you take anything out of that and then add to playing Argentina, the differences between Argentina and France?
Well, yeah, there are big differences between Argentina and France, but I think, as you mentioned, that's the key part of the Spain chances of getting the trophy tonight. If Spain is able to build up the game as he did against France, I think Spain has big chances to get the trophy, because Argentina is not France, but if Spain is able to play at that style, I think no one nowadays can beat Spain, because they control the possession, because they know how to make the pace of the game, and at the end of the day, it's really difficult to beat a team like Spain when they are doing at his best, like they did against France. So that's going to be very important tonight.
And on that front, Dani Olmo is a player who many people had written off a little bit for Spain. Fabian Ruiz comes in. He wasn't expected to play. It was going to be Pedri, and he was sensational against France. And then you got Rodri, who bounces back from that ACL, who is looking almost as good as he did when he won the Ballon d'Or. It did take a long time, but you talked about it. They dominated that midfield. Yeah. But Argentina are definitely going to give you more of a game in that area. Do you fear what they present in that area more than France?
Well, yeah, we know all Argentina, and probably in England you know better than anyone after the semi-finals that you had against them, and they will try, I think, and all here in Spain think that Argentina will try to stop Spain since the beginning, probably with faults, with all the kind of football, that Argentina knows to do very well, and after in the second half, if they have the chances, they will go for it. But Spain need to lead the game, as I said before, with Rodri, but also with Fabian. Probably Pedri is not going to be in the lineup, because he's not the same Pedri as he's doing in Barcelona. And Luis de la Fuente knows that it works in the semi-finals, in the quarterfinals with Fabian, with Rodri. Rodri doing much better than in the season with Manchester City. Is the best Rodri that we've seen when he got the Ballon d'Or. Is the same Rodri, is back. And I think that's going to be the key part of the game, the midfield. If Spain can lead the game and can beat the pressure that Argentina will make in the midfield, I think the chances are going to be really high for Spain.
Yeah, you look at the fullback areas as well. I think Porro's played really well. Cucurella, he'll be up against probably Lionel Messi. That's never a given with Messi, because as you know, he can play different positions in the forward line. But some really intriguing matchups today in the game.
Exactly, yeah. It's very important to avoid Messi to get the ball. If Messi get the ball in a good position of the game, you are dead. Messi still at his 39 is the best in the world. He's so in these World Champions. It's not in the history, which absolutely he is, but also in this current tournament. So Spain need to avoid Messi to get the ball. And I think Spain showed during the tournament as well that they are really good in that, because having the possession and keeping the ball, what they got is not to concede chances. I'm not speaking about conceded goals, that Spain only conceded 1 in 7 games, which is absolutely freaking, but also that to avoid conceding chances. We haven't seen too much Unai Simon, the keeper of Spain, and that's the best news for Spain and for Luis de la Fuente. We will see tonight, because obviously Argentina not only have Messi, but also Lautaro, Julian Alvarez. But if they don't get to connect the ball, Spain obviously has better chances to win.
A key thing John said there is you don't want to give time and space to Lionel Messi. John, if I send you Thomas Tuchel's phone number, could you just pass that information on to him, possibly? He seemed to forget it entirely on Wednesday night.
Absolutely, yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. The wonderful John Hernandez joining us live on talkSPORT on the World Cup weekend sports breakfast. That was a look ahead with Shaw, non-stop protection deodorant that won't ever let you down.
High pressure picks on talkSPORT with Shaw, official sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
I don't know what it is, Tony. I just can't stop being angry about it. I just keep getting winding myself up.
There's a hell of a frustration, because for England to go out like they did and then have to witness what happens afterwards, and that performance last night in some way makes it a little bit harder to take for an England fan, because they realised that a number of things that happened on Wednesday night didn't happen last night, and the things that people said needed to happen did. And that was speed and players running into space in forward areas. That all happened last night.
Oh, it's so heartbreaking. Remember, talkSPORT is now available to watch live in more places than ever, including on Samsung TV Plus. If you want to see pure disappointment on my massive ginger face, then you can do that on Samsung TV Plus. So make sure you're tuning in for our wall-to-wall coverage throughout the World Cup. That's Samsung TV Plus for talkSPORT and all the sports you know and love. Just watch. This is the World Cup Weekend Breakfast on talkSPORT.
I wonder whether he went back, muscle memory, whether he's gone back to what happened against Mexico, where we dealt with 5 at the back and they threw things at... But this ain't Mexico.
There's 20 minutes left.
It's
20 minutes of normal time, Jace.
It's more than that.
And we had a man sent off against Mexico. You could almost accept it.
I know.
You're playing against Argentina. You can't sit off for 25 minutes against Argentina. He absolutely bottled it. Thomas Tuchel's cost us the World Cup. He cost us the World Cup. We're 1-0 up. Played well first half. All right, cagey affair. We go 1-0 up. Be brave. Be brave, Thomas. This is what we brought you in for. We brought you in for this moment. We got rid of Southgate because he bottled it, because he weren't brave. We brought you in for now to make that decision. We're 1-0 up in a World Cup semi-final. Bring on Rashford. Bring on Saka. And if they score, they score. But at least we're going to go down fighting. At least we're going to go down with some pride. We fell out of the World Cup in disgrace because of him. Because of him. And we brought him in for this job. This is what we brought him in for, to get us over this line. And it's the same old England, same old crap, same old guff that I have to watch every tournament that we're in. And it's the manager's tucked us up again. Tucked us up. We're dead on our feet. Got Morgan Rogers playing right wing, Jude Bellingham on the left. Brings on Nico O'Reilly. We can't get out. Harry Kane's done nothing. He's dead. Nothing. Got nothing left.
I don't.
I can't believe it, Jace.
Well, no.
Jace, I can't believe it. It's a disgrace. He should be sacked. Get him out. Gone.
I totally agree. I can't believe that we've moved on from Southgate, and it was if you look back over how we've limped out of World Cup or Euros, whatever, it was literally rinse and repeat. It's the same reasons. It was cowardice.
Tony Cascarino's just revealed that the document that we use to keep him updated throughout the show hasn't updated since 6 a.m. this morning.
No.
He's waited for 2 hours and 50 minutes to give us that news instead of highlighting it at any other point during the show.
I'll see if I can.
I thought I was
I'm
taking
seeing
the
if I
show
can-
off the rails, Tony, but
No.
apparently it's you.
Will, I'm trying to see if I can do it without any information in front of me, do the show and just talk about everything.
I would never have guessed. You've done a wonderful job. I appreciate you. I'm Will Gavin. He is the former Marseille and Millwall striker, Tony Cascarino. So, your headlines this morning. Luke Littler fired an average of 109 to kick off his world match play defence in emphatic fashion last night, live on talkSPORT 2. Ian Dant will join the show shortly. Chelsea have agreed a club record £117 million deal to sign England midfielder Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa, with the 23-year-old signing a 6-year contract at Stamford Bridge. And... Right, I'm reading it off there. It says, and Chelsea have agreed a record £117 million deal. So apparently I shouldn't be reading that document as well. Middlesbrough will net £15 million from that deal if Rodgers completes that Chelsea move. Love to hear from you on this 0371722 3344. You can text 81089. You can get us on WhatsApp at 0371722 3344 as well. Loads of messages coming in, so we'll get to those coming up shortly as well. But Tony Cascarino, Gillingham legend. Let's talk about £117 million. Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa to Chelsea.
Yeah.
What do you make of it? Arsenal, they've swept in there and taken away a key player from the Premier League champions. Statement of intent from Chelsea?
I'm surprised that Chelsea have been able to do it and convince Morgan Rogers. Well, I say convince, they obviously have had meetings via the agent during the course of the season, I'm sure. He had a fabulous season for Villa. He really did. I prefer him off the left side. I think that's his best position. And he grew and he became a real talisman in the Villa team this year, and why they had such a good season in the end. Made Champions League football, which is brilliant. Yeah, that Villa have had a really good season. I'm delighted for them. And but you lose talent, and Chelsea have been poaching players to an incredible level for the last it feels like forever, doesn't it? 10 years plus. Even the new idea of a new regime comes in, takes control, tries to bring spending down, tries to bring wages down by giving longer contracts, and yet, lo and behold, they go out and spend £117 million on Rodgers, Morgan Rogers. He's a really talented lad.
I think Morgan Rogers has that potential to go into an absolute top-tier player.
Yes, he does, yeah.
If I'm talking England perspective, is he quite going to be Jude Bellingham? Maybe not, but the rung right below that. And I think you're right. Off the left side is where I'd like to see him play.
Garnacho's position comes free, doesn't it? If they lose Garnacho.
Who absolutely desperately needs a top talented left wing player is Arsenal. And I understand they've gone in, they've lowballed, they've looked to get him for 80 million, etc. But after signing Eberechi Eze, and Eze being a bit of a disappointment last season, having great moments but not being the starter, the key player they wanted him to be, Noni Madueke signing for 60, 65 million, and again being a rotational player, it felt to me like Arsenal needed a real jewel in the crown type, and I think Morgan Rogers could have been that.
Yeah, well, you've made a really valid point there, Will, because Arsenal, one of the biggest fears for players going to Arsenal, and it's a little bit associated with Man City as well, that you might not be guaranteed a spot in the team, even though they paid lots of money for you, because you just mentioned a couple of players there, like Kai Havertz went there, Gyökeres went there as well. Gyökeres was on the bench a number of times last season. He was their record signing, as a centre forward. Kai Havertz likewise, and they've sort of had to battle for that position. And yes, they've had injuries as well. But I just feel that I think there's a little bit more certainty with Alonso, that probably I'm buying you in and you're going to be our left-sided and this is where you're going to play and you're going to be in the team. Now, obviously, if you play badly, you can be taken out of the team. But players do really feel like what will I be at Arsenal, or where will I be at Man City? Like Jack Grealish, what would he become? You know, when you had Calvin Phillips as well. You know, when they go to clubs and they end up not being in the first team lineup, being a replacement for Rodri, as Calvin Phillips was, meant nothing in the end. End up going out on loan to West Ham, you know, and other loans, Ipswich. And then I just think that can sometimes hurt clubs like Arsenal, who are looking to progress and expand their squad. It can hurt them that they go, player wants to play week in, week out, because a lot of players do. There's a lot of players I played with and players afterwards have said they just want to play football. And if you're going to be on the bench more, you know, during the course of a season, it can be a hard gig.
We say this, but Chelsea have got the deepest squad in the Premier League. They've got a ludicrous number of players.
Yeah.
They undoubtedly need to get some players off that. And yet, you look at what that front line could now look like. If you've got Morgan Rogers in there, if you've got Cole Palmer in there, Joao Pedro I thought was excellent last season. If Enzo Fernandez sticks around and doesn't end up getting moved to Real Madrid or wherever, and he plays a bit more like Argentina, Enzo Fernandez. It's a Chelsea team who could jump up very quickly. This Morgan Rogers signing to me, as much as the money is eye-watering, I think it's the best signing they've made for some time. I think it's a real statement of intent from them. And it's a bit of a sign that Xabi Alonso is a pull for this club. That he is somebody who, I know Crookie told us earlier that Morgan Rogers maybe got frustrated with Arsenal lowballing Aston Villa and dragging the whole saga out and wanted to get the deal done. But I think this is a real statement of intent. And Chelsea, maybe a little ahead of time, could be an impact team this season, whereas most people I didn't think expected them to be a Champions League level team straight away.
Well, if you think about the 100 million plus players they've bought, Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, and then they got Morgan Rogers, the other two have played really well for Chelsea. And okay, it was a difficult season last year and Caicedo wasn't as good. But generally, you know that them two are going to be firm fixtures in the team. And no one knows the future of Enzo Fernandez at the moment. So I think it's a great move for him. You know, Chelsea's a terrific football club. Not that Arsenal isn't, but they might have been a little bit more hungry to try and get it over the line. Because sometimes this, you know, we don't know the Arsenal situation, where how much they're going to spend, who the priorities. They say it was Morgan Rogers as the number one, but they haven't gone hard enough. Maybe they knew that he might go to Chelsea instead. Maybe Arsenal knew.
They also desperately need a centre-back after this William Saliba injury, and Ezri Konsa is one that's on the board. But now Villa have got 170 million for Rodgers. Suddenly, they're not being held at kind of gunpoint for, you've got to sell, you've got to sell, you've got to sell, and they can demand a much bigger fee than maybe they would have done if not. This is the weekend World Cup Sports Breakfast. Don't forget, the World Cup's coming to an end today. But we got the transfer insiders through the rest of this summer, every weekday from 7 till 10. So lock into that. We've got Alex Crook, we've got Ben Jacobs, we've got the best information in all of world football when it comes to transfers right here on talkSPORT.
Now, we get the inevitable fallout after a World Cup, and there are reports that one or two of the England players were very surprised that we went ultra defensive in that closing stage of the game. And we were saying earlier on to Stan Collymore that there's a lot of making up to be done by Thomas Tuchel. A lot of people now would have lost trust and belief maybe in his methods, and that would include fans, it would include media, and he's going to have a very prickly time with the media, I guess, over the next 2 years, and maybe some of the players as well, Adrian.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think he's it's a big moment in his England career. Everything had been okay and judgment had been on hold, but judgment was always going to come with what happened at this World Cup, because he was brought in to win the World Cup. And there's no shame in losing to the reigning champions, Argentina, who've still got a player like Messi who is the best we'll ever see in our lifetime, but it's the manner in which you lose that game, and that manner was not acceptable. Since then, he's come out and basically said, oh, it's the player's fault, not mine. That's how it could be interpreted. And I think that's not going to go down very well. Certainly doesn't go down well with me, because he's been in the job long enough now, and he should have studied it in remember the 6 months he had off before taking the job? Well, in that time, he should have studied the England DNA. We all know about the England DNA.
Yeah.
Your job, mate, is to come in and change that DNA. And if you can't do it, then off you pop, because you're not welcome. You've got nothing to offer us if you can't change that DNA. And actually, the last couple of games, Norway and Mexico, he's been adhering to that DNA, playing up to that DNA. So if he needed something different, he should have already done something.
We've seen some incredible goalkeepers grace the world stage. Banks, Zoff, Buffon, Neuer. So why is Lev Yashin from the Soviet Union considered the greatest of them all? Say Yashin to a teenager these days and they'll probably look like this. After all, he played decades ago for a country that doesn't exist anymore. He never even played in a World Cup final, yet he still, more often than not, comes out on the top of ranking lists. In 1958, the Soviet Union lost 2-0 to Brazil in the group stage. But without a 28-year-old Yashin, who'd stopped a rampant Pelé from scoring, the scoreline would have been embarrassing. He was key again in a draw against England, which helped the Soviets into the knockouts. They would eventually lose to the host Sweden, but many considered Yashin to be the reason they got as far as they did. He was revered at home, and his club form was out of this world. In the 4 seasons between 58 and 62, he hit a 1-in-2 clean sheet ratio almost every season. That is insane. By comparison, in the 4 years to 1966, Gordon Banks was closer to 1-in-4. All of that made his dramatic flop in 62 that much more shocking. He conceded 4 in a group game to Colombia, including the only World Cup goal ever conceded directly from a corner. They were knocked out by Chile, and so shocked was Chile's winning goal scorer, Eladio Rojas, that he hugged Yashin in celebration. Back home, Yashin was blamed for everything. He was the scapegoat. After bricks through his window and messages left on his car, he considered packing it in. But he kept going. And in 66, the return to form of the man they called the Black Spider was lauded. After his team finished 4th, Yashin was given the Order of Lenin, the Soviet Union's highest civilian honour. All of that is why today, the best keeper in the world gets the Yashin Award. That's right. These modern-day greats stand on the shoulders of that Soviet giant.
Good morning. This is World Cup weekend breakfast with the third place playoff of presenters Will Gavin alongside Bromley's favourite son, Tony Cascarino.
Good morning.
Morning, sir. Quick text in from Scott in Sweden. Morning, guys. Is it me or does Will have the same top on from yesterday? I tuned in to TV, was watching on YouTube and thought it was a rerun of yesterday's show. Actually, I've done a very much my wife thing and worn the same top in a different colour. It was a burgundy one yesterday. It's a green one today, but very observant of you. Well done, Scott. Shall we do a little menu of what's going on this morning?
Yep.
England turned on the style, in a way, to finish their World Cup in third place. Here's how England's 6th goal sounded live on talkSPORT.
Takes it on the outside, comes in field, brilliant from Bellingham. Oh, wonderful from Jude Bellingham. That is why he is one of the best in the world.
Jude Bellingham, one of the best in the world, Tony.
Can I just say, we
Please.
haven't even talked about that goal.
No, we haven't.
It was a fabulous goal. If that would be iconic. If it wasn't for it being in the third and fourth place playoff, that would be an iconic goal.
I thought there were 5 great goals from England yesterday and a couple from France. The Mbappe one, where Elise lets it through his legs and then plays the 1-2 with him. Oh! Yeah. Beautiful, sensational football.
We'll give it that.
It just happened in basically the World Cup equivalent of Soccer Aid. Anyway, let us know your thoughts. 03717 223344 is the number to call. You can text 81089. Harry Kane spoke to talkSPORT after the game and thinks they can take positives from the whole thing.
Everyone's still trying to process what happened the other night, and you have this game in between that, you know, it's not ideal for both teams, but I think the team with the best mentality won today.
Harry Kane dropping the M-bomb all over his conversation with talkSPORT. Ridiculous. The biggest game in world football's tonight, though. Argentina face Spain in the final of the World Cup 2026. And I think we can all agree with Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank about who we want to win tonight.
I want Spain to win after seeing how Argentina beat England and also 4 years ago against the Dutch.
I say that. Carlin Derbyshire gets in touch. It says, morning, guys. I think I might be the only Englishman who wants to see Argentina win tonight. He said, I don't want Spain to leave us behind as the only major football nation with a single star over our badge. And it's also no great shame to be knocked out by the eventual champions. There we go.
Yeah, but look, I'm sure there's a good number of people. I mean, if you're a Lionel Messi fan, you definitely want Argentina to win it, don't you?
I'm a Lionel Messi fan, but he's already got one. I don't want them to win another after beating us. You can let us know your thoughts. 81089 on the text. You can get us on WhatsApp or give us a call. That's 03717 223344 to have your say on last night's action and today's action, where the biggest game in world football, Spain against Argentina, kicks off at 8 p.m. live here on talkSPORT.
When the stakes are at their highest and the greats and the good are separated. A night when global icons clash and the prize is footballing immortality. Early ball gets it back. Pedro Porro! It is 2! That is a golden moment for Spain!
Get your team to the World Cup final. I thought Rodri was absolutely magnificent.
Spain are a game away from a second star. The European champions, now on the brink of becoming world champions again. Back in from Messi. And headed in by Lautaro Martinez. Argentina just got in the car and smashed straight through the wonder wall, didn't they?
When the Argentinian players were singing the anthem, you could see how much they wanted to win that game. That's probably the best game Argentina played in this World Cup.
Nobody's retained the trophy since 1962. Argentina stand on the brink of history.
Oh, it gets the blood going, doesn't it? It gets the heart pumping. Can't wait for tonight. As much as I wish England were involved, Argentina-Spain is going to be very, very special at that New Jersey, New York stadium. Messi, 39 years old. Lamine Yamal turned 19 years old last week.
Yeah.
Are we going to see a changing of the guard tonight?
Well, I do. Whatever happens, the outcome tonight, I don't think Lionel Messi will continue. I think he'll call it a day.
Imagine winning.
He's done everything.
Back-to-back Copa Americas and back-to-back World Cups.
Yeah. Even if he loses,
to finish your career.
I just think Lionel Messi will. I think he's that type of guy that he'll know. And he hasn't done the Ronaldo thing of just keep going on. And Ronaldo's got the 41. He's been amazing. But your legacy can be watered down slightly by just carrying on. not being as good. You see it in individual sports. You know, Federer was a great player, but he tried to, at the end of his career, keep playing. Djokovic is doing that now. He can't compete like he once did or be winning like he did. I think it's when you're that good, you have to retire at the right time. When you're absolutely top of the game.
We so rarely see it in football. And I think
in any sport.
It's one of the great things in sport. I think it happens in American sport a surprising amount. The number of times you see somebody win a Super Bowl or win an NBA title and then mic drop and walk away from the sport actually does happen more often than
Tom Brady seemed to keep coming back, didn't he?
Tom Brady did. He won one and then he hung around for another season or two and he made the playoffs. It wasn't quite the same. If he'd won that Super Bowl with the Bucks after winning 6 with the Patriots and then gone, that's me, I'm done.
Yeah.
If he'd
But actually,
out then,
you're deserving of that.
Magical.
When you're that good, you should be retiring, in my opinion. Like, I've got no defined, I never want to say to a player, you should retire. But I always think when you're that good, you have to, your legacy of being the best ever, you keep it intact.
I've managed to go 2 days without mentioning American sport, by the way. I'm very proud of myself here. But while we're on the topic, let's speak to one of talkSPORT's MVPs. By the way, we talked about what we keep from the World Cup earlier on the show. Yeah. Chase the Sun. If they're going to do goal music for celebrations like they do at the World Cup, Chase the Sun was so much better than anything else they've ever played for England. We should steal it from darts 100%. The 2026 Betfred World Match Play began on Saturday. Reigning champion Luke Littler opened his title defence in sensational fashion at Winter Gardens. Let's get some reaction to this. We're talkSPORT's Ian Dancer. Morning, Dance. How are you?
Hi, Dance.
Morning, Will. Morning, Cass. Nice to speak to you both.
Yeah, good. And well, we're talking about a young sensation in football, and then you've got Luke Littler. I can remember him winning the doubles not too long ago with Luke Humphries, and he started off really lively because it felt like he was in a bit of a. And you tell me, you know him way better than me, Dance, but it felt like he was sort of in a bit of a weird period of his career where he was getting a little bit of criticism. He wasn't quite as dominant, but again, it doesn't take him long to sort of turn it all around again.
Well, one, I don't understand the criticism anyway, because he's 19 years of age and he's almost cleaned up all the major ranking titles already. He's only got the European Championships to win and then he's won the lot before he's even turned 20. Last night, we saw a burst of form from Luke. And Nico Springer, his opponent on debut, actually did pretty well to stay with Luke. It was 5-5. And then there was a burst of 3 or 4 legs where Luke's 3-dart average for a time was 142. I mean, it was just mesmeric stuff. The only thing that Luke might say about his performance last night is that his double top hitting was a little off, but only a little. And he hit it twice when it mattered at crucial stages in the game. And it was just a blistering performance. And as I say, Springer, on his debut, did well to take, 6 legs off him and make it a 10-6 game. It was brilliant from Luke. And me and Paul Nicholson, my co-commentator for Darts on the Radio, we were discussing Luke's form because he's not one that likes practicing that much. He's just got natural gifted talent. But he does practice when he gets to an arena. And Nico said to me, this game between Niels Zonneveld and Stephen Bunting that's going the distance actually plays well into Luke's hands because it gives him more time in the practice room just before he goes on stage to play, just to hone the finer elements of his game down. And I mean, maybe that's how it played out, but it certainly felt that way, that Luke was just irresistible last night.
You go back to 10 plus years ago and you see that Phil Taylor dominant run, but we haven't had a back-to-back champion since Michael van Gerwen 10 years ago.
That's right.
How significant would it be if Luke Littler does go back-to-back here?
Well, hugely, because there's only Michael, Phil Taylor, of course, and Rod Harrington who've gone back-to-back at match plays. And Luke is just in such a dominant position in the sport that it's a bit like what I was saying about the French earlier in the World Cup. You beat France, you win the World Cup, and maybe that is how it will play out with Spain this evening. You beat Luke Littler, you tend to win a ranking major title, and that may well be the case. He's got a big test on Tuesday, though, I'll say, guys, because one of the other standout performances from last night was Nathan Aspinall, who has won the match play before 3 years ago, and he posted a 105 average in beating one of his close friends, Joe Cullen, in the final match of the night. And he looked in really good form too. Those two meet on Tuesday night. And if you've got a ticket for Tuesday night at the Winter Gardens, that game alone, Aspinall-Littler, means you're in for a treat.
Yeah, absolute stunning stuff very early in this tournament. What day of sport it is today? The World Cup final, the final day of the Open live on talkSPORT 2, and then immediately following our coverage of the Open on talkSPORT 2, we'll be headed to Winter Gardens. What are the highlights of tonight's action, Dance?
Well, I should also stress, Will, that we've got the afternoon session on the talkSPORT app, because Sundays at the start of the match play are a double session. So from 1 o'clock on the talkSPORT app, join us at the Winter Gardens. And we've got two former match play champions in action. Michael van Gerwen, and of course, we mentioned him earlier, back-to-back match play champion and former world champion. He's taking on Andrew Gilding, the man who beat him to win the UK Open final a few years back. And Gary Anderson of Scotland, he is taking on Ryan Joyce, arguably the best double 16 hitter in the world. We'll start with Chris Dobie, who's been Mr. Consistency on the Pro Tour this year, taking on Dirk van Dijvenbode. Tonight, James Wade playing in his 21st consecutive world match play. He's in action as well. Johnny Clayton's also on the jockey this afternoon. So we've got a proper double session on the talkSPORT app this afternoon, and then on talkSPORT 2 this evening after the Open Championship is done. And as I said earlier, if you've got a ticket for today, for this double session, it's just value for money, all ends up. It should be a cracking day of action. Do please come and join us.
Wonderful, wonderful stuff. And hopefully it's not too hot in that venue either, because it can get stifling in there. But they do such a wonderful job. Darts on the radio, Tony.
I've listened.
It works.
Yeah, I know. I've listened.
It's so, so good. So the afternoon session live on the talkSPORT app, the evening session live on talkSPORT 2, updates into talkSPORT as well. Thank you very much, Ian Danter. We'll turn our attention back to the football here on the World Cup Weekend Breakfast. Up next, 03717 22 3344, and we'll discuss the final day of the Open.
Up until 72 minutes, we were going to get into the World Cup.
Crap.
Oh, we weren't crap.
The goal,
right?
the goal
we
was
weren't
a wonderful ball from Morgan Rogers.
Yeah.
But I'm asking you to put your playing hat on now.
Yeah.
You're Argentina. Is that a good goal, or has they switched up at the back post?
That's a bad goal. You switched off. The right back, or was it the right back? Doesn't
Yeah,
it doesn't even react.
Why does that need to criticise a bad goal for England? It was a great goal. We went 1-0 up. It's a great cross.
It was a great
Why
cross.
can't you argue that Gordon lost his man to score the goal?
Because the geezer doesn't even see him.
Well,
it doesn't go
there
like.
must be a reason for that.
He doesn't run and go boom boom. He just runs and the guy's like, oh my man.
Troy, you can't criticise a goal that we.
I'm not criticising it. I'm saying we didn't play well. We had 5 shots in the whole game.
Yeah.
They had 5 on target. Remember, they don't call the 2 that hit the post on target.
Yeah, but
so
man,
they had the same amount of shots.
But man for man, they're better than us. But
no, they're not.
Oh, well, they are.
No, they're not.
Not man for man, they're not.
Man for man, they're better than us.
Well, last night they were.
Yeah, but still, I think maybe you maybe at a stretch, maybe 3 of their players maybe gets into the England.
Exactly. And they're not man for man better than us. What they could do better, and well, this is why I thought Messi's greatness yesterday really showed.
Yeah.
Because you know when they were 1-0 down, there was 40 minutes left, he went, give me the ball. He lost it a few times, give it me again. He hit crosses over, give it me again. Don't worry, just keep giving it me because I know I'm going to do it. Everyone in their team went, there's 2 lines. You can either be, I'm going to be the person who doesn't make a mistake, I'm going to be the person who wins the game. Everyone in their team and their bench went, we're going to win the game, I'm going to be the man.
Yeah.
Our team went, don't be the one to make the mistake.
Oh.
And we played with fear. Now, that doesn't always come from the manager, that comes from the players within. One person I do want to give a shout, because I've been very harsh on him with this whole thing. Jed Spence was top draw.
Yeah, he was
top draw. So I give credit where it's due. But we've got top players, apparently. Where were they?
ready to get that winning feeling with talkSPORT Win. This summer, talkSPORT is bringing you live and official coverage of every game of the FIFA World Cup 2026. And to celebrate, we're giving away £26,000 guaranteed. Go to win.talksport.com to enter now, and you could win 26 grand in your hand, tax-free. Enter now, and you could be the next to get that winning feeling, courtesy of talkSPORT Win. Find out how to enter now at win.talksport.com.
Good morning, this is the World Cup Weekend Breakfast on talkSPORT. We're also live on YouTube and your smart TV as well. I'm Will Gavin, alongside the Gillingham legend, Tony Cascarino. And we were just discussing off air, it's a beautiful day outside. Stunning, sunny, great weather. And yet England ruined our Sunday plans by not making the World Cup final. There were barbecues, there were outside screens, there was so much great stuff. So we want to know, are you still watching the World Cup final? / listening to it on talkSPORT, and where are you going to be doing it? 81089 03717 223344 on WhatsApp, and we'll read out some of the best ones. But first, this is the final countdown for your chance to win a massive £26,000 in cold hard cash. That's right, just over 48 hours left to land that whopping 26 grand, completely tax-free, but you can't win it unless you're in it. So here's how to enter. For your chance to win, visit talksportwin.com or text WIN to 83338 by 6 p.m. tomorrow night. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or you can send your name and number by post to Comp 1, PO Box 3190, Colchester, CO2 HGP, to arrive by midnight on the 23rd of July 2026. 18 plus, UK residents only. So for your chance to win, text WIN to 83338. Now, it's a network promotion, full T's and C's at talksportwin.com. Right, the early runners and riders are out in the open. It's live over on talkSPORT 2, but let's get an early update on the final day with talkSPORT's Hugo Chambray.
Yeah, morning, Will. There's players out on the golf course already today. Conditions look good. There's a couple of players already at 2 under par through their rounds. Peter Uline, England's Matthew Southgate and John Parry, all 2 under to start off their final rounds. Alex Fitzpatrick gets underway at 10:05. He's at -1 for the tournament. But those good early scores could be key for some of the players up the top of the leaderboard. Hometown hero Tommy Fleetwood, he is 5 shots back. He had a rapturous reception to close his round yesterday. Ended up being just a 1 under par 69. But if he can get out there at 1:40 p.m. and start making birdies, making eagles, and potentially card one of these rounds of 62 or 63 that we've seen this week, he could really put the leaders, including Sam Burns, who currently leads the tournament at 10 under par, under quite some pressure. And then who knows what might happen. 19 players within 6 shots of the lead. It promises to be a thriller at the 154th Open Championship. There's live commentary over on talkSPORT 2.
Well, thank you very much, Hugo Chambray. Yesterday, Tony Cascarino redubbed Moving Day as Removals Day. So I'm wondering what he's going to refer to the final day as today. As we do go into the final day space, Sam Burns, alongside Bryson DeChambeau, boosted his hopes of a maiden major title. Yeah, I'm going to stumble somewhere here, aren't I? After mixing 6 birdies with a lone bogey in a third round 65 at Royal Birkdale, DeChambeau had hinted at pulling out of the tournament after that penalty incident on Friday, which was referred to by McIlroy as performative and holding the tournament hostage. To get more on the golf, we're now joined by trick shot legend and golf pro Jeremy Dale. Jeremy, how are you this morning, sir?
All right, Jeremy.
I'm very well. Thank you for having me on. Lovely to see you.
Yeah, good. Jeremy, how do you stand in what's happened, in the last few days? Because Rory's made it quite clear he's not a fan of DeChambeau at all and has a clear dislike for him. Has it got a little bit too personal by what he said, or has he got a right to say that went way too, went on way too long, that decision that ended up being, no one knew actually what they were doing the next day on the times of their tee times?
Well, let's start with the decision, and then we'll talk about the reaction to it. I think there's no question that DeChambeau improved his lie. And no question also that the RNA stood up to him. And with a performance like that in front of the referee, you could be forgiven for thinking he was Argentinian. He really had a go at the officials, and I don't like to see that. And he should have just accepted the penalty, which in the end he did. But all this stuff about, I'm not playing, I'm going to throw my toys out the pram and not turn up tomorrow, I think that was just ridiculous. And I think Rory has every right to call him out on it. He clearly infringed the rules. And there was a commentary from Radar on Sky Sports. He said, well, he's got to take the club outside the line to avoid all this long grass. And by the time he trampled it all down, he didn't have to do that. So, he was lucky to find the ball anyway. So to just compound that error with another mental error. These guys knows the rules. We've all done it. I've done it myself in tournaments. I hit a branch on a practice swing once, 2-shot penalty immediately. Play the wrong ball. Call it yourself. We are our own referees in this game. So I think there's no question that Bryson helped himself to a better lie. I think Rory was actually pretty accurate. I think he summed up certainly the British feeling. I think the Americans might have a different view on that, and they seem to want to bend the rules a little more than we do. And I'm really pleased that the RNA stood up and said, right, no, this is how we do things here.
So if we're saying, like you have, and you're quite firm on that, he knew exactly what he was doing, he's took an advantage.
Well, I wouldn't say it was deliberate necessarily.
Right.
We don't know that. I can't get inside his head, but it was definitely a 2-shot penalty.
Yeah, he's smart enough to know the rules. Is the point? Is when they've highlighted it to him. I think no hissy fit. You go, oh no, shouldn't have done that. Hands up, move on with it.
Well, I agree completely. 100%.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say is that it feels like we're making it a grey area, and yet you said yesterday, and as we're talking now, it's the same scenario where he knew what he was doing.
But the problem is, and listen, this is a guy who...
So surely that's worse than two-shot penalty.
This is a guy who once tried to argue fire ants as a reason that he wanted to get a reset of a ball because it was lying on top of a branch, and the rules official came over and spotted 2 ants and no anthill. Like, this is a guy who knows the rules inside out, who absolutely has known them since he was a junior. And what I like about what Rory McIlroy said, performative. It's exactly what he was. He threw a hissy fit. It's classic Bryson DeChambeau, and we don't need to see it. It's the Open. It's one of the greatest sporting events in the world, and I just want to focus on some great golf.
Do you know what? It's got me. And look, there were 2 62s, wasn't they, over the last few days, and there was another third one yesterday from Ryan Fox, and that should have been way more on the agenda, and yet it's gone under the radar because of this incident.
Well, there has been some fantastic golf. Maybe we should focus on that. And there's a wide open tournament here. And the weather, as your reporter said, is set fair. And we've seen, as you say, 62s. But the leading score, which is -8, the leading score is only 10 under, which means that there are pitfalls around this course as well. And it's been interesting to see how people have approached it. I thought Tita Green Scheffler has played the best. I've been really interested to see how Tommy Fleetwood went about it. Not a hitting driver all the time, and he has this beautiful cut-off follow-through, great for punch shots into the wind. And the ones that have been a bit more circumspect have looked really good. And yet, DeChambeau is still, hitting driver everywhere, and he's -6. So we've got a very bunched field. We've got great scores potentially out there, but also it can trip you up. So we could see quite easily somebody from, I think, the -4s and lower, coming right through the field like Ryan Fox did yesterday. I mean, really nobody's talked about him as a potential winner. But this is a guy that has won a couple of PGA Tour events. his dad's a former All Black, and he's got a really good winning mentality. So he's a guy that won't back off. And I like Burns as well. He's shown some form previously to this in the US Open at Shinnecock, and he said he doesn't really like links golf. He said he's had a word with Scotty Scheffler about how to approach it, and he's dialed it in a bit more and played a bit more conservatively. But he holds a record now for 36 holes at the Open, 62, 65. It's astonishing golf. So we have a tournament, I think, that could be an absolute cracker. It could be a complete cavalry charge by the end because the weather is great. The greens are quite soft. I listened to Max Homer talk about how surprised he was at how soft the greens are. You can see from the colour that they're nowhere near as browned out as they might have got if they'd not watered them quite so much. And you've got the advantage of hard running fairways as well and not much rough. So the scores are definitely out there.
Yeah, it looked like we might have a big final day live over on talkSPORT 2. The coverage is already underway with the first tee about 20 minutes ago, so it's a huge final day. We thank you so much to TrickShot legend and golf pro Jeremy Dale. Brilliant stuff from you. Updates on talkSPORT throughout the day. There's a little matter of a World Cup final to get to, though, Tony Cascarino. So the brilliant Tim Vickery will give us the South American Argentinian perspective up next.
If the 85th minute comes and we're still 1-up and we've been attacking and we've still created chances, but it hasn't quite gone in, but we're 1-up and Rashford's on the pitch, Saka's on the
go on,
pitch.
keep going. I'm
In the 85th minute, it brings on Dan Burn.
No.
Lovely
No, we get done the counter-attack. What are you going to say? What are you going to say?
What do you mean?
I just told you the scenario.
No, but that scenario is absolute crap.
No, it's
that scenario wouldn't have happened.
Jay, I'm just trying to paint you a picture about how we could lose the game in a different way based on what. Jay, I'm with you. Don't get angry with me.
No, I am getting angry.
No, don't get angry with me.
You're trying to tell me how I'm going to feel about a situation.
And you'd sit there and go, oh, well done, boys. Glorious failure. We had a right go. Right go at the post cup time. Got done in 2 counter-attacks. Fine. Go out in your shield. No way. No way you'd sit there and say that.
I would have sat there and I would have accepted it because I watched 4 bloody tournaments.
I don't believe you.
Of England.
I don't believe
doing
you.
exactly what we did last night.
I don't believe you.
And if we had gone out with Rashford and Saka on the pitch.
I don't believe you.
And still trying to attack, and we get done,
do you know what
then we get done.
Do you know what we'd be sitting there now? We'd be saying, how can Thomas Tuchel allow us to get done on the counter-attack twice, 85th and 92nd minute? How can that happen? You'll be saying the same thing, and it'll be a different conversation based on what the evidence is in front of you. You would.
Don't tell me how I'm going to feel.
You'd accept it, would you?
I've told you 10 times.
No chance. No chance. I know you too well. No chance. I wouldn't accept it. I wouldn't accept it. I'd be saying, why has he not gone 5 at the back? Why is he not? He's 85th minute on the counter-attack. Listen, we agree. I'm just trying to.
No, you're not agreeing. You're not agreeing.
No,
you're not agreeing.
No, I am.
No, you're trying to wind me up.
No, I'm not. Jay, 100% I'm agreeing with you. Jay, 100% I'm agreeing with you.
You're not agreeing with me. You're not agreeing with me.
I hope you've been having a good time over the last couple of days, Tony. It's been an absolute pleasure to have been alongside you this Saturday and Sunday.
It's been good. It's good fun, Will. Very funny.
What a weekend of live sport we've had as well, with the Open back underway. It's live over on talkSPORT 2 right now. The World Match Play will be on the app from 1 p.m. this afternoon, and the BDC Action live tonight on talkSPORT 2 straight after the golf. And we've got the little matter of the World Cup final. This is the World Cup weekend breakfast. I'm Will Gavin, the former Gillingham striker, Tony Cascarino alongside me. Here's what's coming up on talkSPORT today. From 10 a.m, it's the warm-up with Max Rushton and Charlie Baker. Then the World Cup weekender with no Trans-Euro Express tonight because of that World Cup final. We get to hear the brilliant Kevin Hatchard and Andy Brassell from 1 p.m. Then Jamie O'Hara and Mickey Gray will be taking your calls from 3 for World Cup Game Day Live before we head to the New York, New Jersey Stadium from 6 p.m. tonight. Jim Proudfoot, England legend Stuart Pearce, and of course the voice of live sport, Adrian Durham, bring you the World Cup final between Spain and Argentina. Kick-off at 8 p.m. before the Sports Bar take your calls from 10:30. So keep it talkSPORT, because you're never going to miss a thing today. So it is the big one this evening. Spain take on Argentina. For the first time in World Cup history, the reigning World Cup champions will face the European champions. It's Lamine Yamal against Leo Messi. With 19 goals, this Argentina side have scored the most at the tournament. Spain have scored 13, but have conceded the fewest goals at this tournament. So who comes out on top?
When the stakes are at their highest and the greats and the good are separated. A night when global icons clash and the prize is footballing immortality. Early ball gets it back. Pedro Porro! It is two! That is a golden moment for Spain!
Get your team to the World Cup final. I thought Rodri was absolutely magnificent.
Spain are a game away from a second star. The European champions now on the brink of becoming world champions again. Back in from Messi. And headed in by Lautaro Martinez.
Argentina just got in the car and smashed straight through the wonder wall, didn't they?
When the Argentinian players were singing the anthem, you could see how much they want to win that game. That's probably the best game Argentina played in this World Cup.
Nobody's retained the trophy since 1962. Argentina stand on the brink of history.
Well, I'm delighted to say, with Argentina on the brink of history, the South American football aficionado Tim Vickery joins the World Cup weekend breakfast right now. Very good morning, Tim. How are you, sir?
Hi, Tim.
I'm very well, and all the better for a fond memory of my life, which is the morning of the World Cup final in Qatar, France against Argentina. I remember being on here with big Tony Cascarino, and we had a lovely little chat, and both of us agreed that France would probably win, and both of us ended up being wrong. Why were we wrong? Well, I think one reason that we were wrong, and probably the main reason we were wrong, is that the Argentina coach Lionel Scaloni, he found a way, and I think this is such a great lesson for coaches. He found a way to impose his version of the game on France. He picked Di Maria. Di Maria hadn't played the semi, so he picked Di Maria. And instead of using him down the Argentina right against the French left back, who was seen as a weakness, Hernandez, he used him on the other side against Koundé. France weren't expecting it, and it took the game away from France. It was 2-0 and coasting for Argentina until Di Maria came off. But in the end, the France side, they don't need very much to get back into the game. But Argentina ended up hanging on to win that one, that fabulous final. So that it's a warm memory for to have had that natter with Big Kaz on that day.
Well, are you both rooting for Spain today? That's the question.
Go on, Tim. Rooting for a great game of football.
Not rooting
as
for,
always.
but picking Spain. Let's put it that way.
Well, Tim, I listened to you speaking to Henry Winter. I listened to on a podcast, and thought it was really interesting conversations about how this Argentina team find a way of winning, and it's really. I mean, because to me, the most outstanding feature is not Yamal for me. It's whether Rodri dictates the ball in the middle of the field. And I think that's where Argentina, I think, if they can handle that, that gives them a way greater chance of, winning another World Cup.
Yeah, I wonder how they're going to do that. Enzo Fernandez, for me, is probably the likely lad. And he's one that they move around, they shift around.
Yeah.
And against England, they moved him to the right side of the holding midfielder, Paredes, to block the space where they imagined Bellingham coming through. That's what they did first half. But one thing that's not going to happen is Spain are not going to self-destruct the way that England did and the way that Switzerland did in the round before that against Argentina. This is going to push Argentina, I think, right to the limit. And this is the stadium. It's the very stadium I was there exactly 10 years ago, where Messi he announced his retirement from international football. He said Argentina had just lost 3 finals in 3 years. There was a World Cup final in 14, there was a Copa America in 15, and then there was an extra Copa America for the centenary of the competition in 16. It had gone to penalties, that one in 16, and Messi he's not the greatest penalty taker in the world, is he? He'd put his one way over the bar. Argentina had lost, and at the end of the game, he was saying, that's it for me. I'm jinxed. It's not going to work out well. Thankfully for us all, and I remember, I imagine a few England fans might think differently, but thankfully for us all, he quite swiftly changed his mind, and has come back and done these extraordinary things at the age of 39. But how are Argentina going to give him a platform today on his duel against because he loves that space, that pulling out wide when it's hard to find space, he pulls out deep right. Him against Cucurella today, how's that one going to go? Rodri there, as you said, is it going to be Enzo? Is it going to be Alexis McAllister who presses him all the time? How's that one going to go? So there's lots of little matchups. Earlier in the tournament, the Spanish coach was asked which player from another team would you most like to be Spanish, and even before the question had been completed, he kind of said Julian Alvarez. I don't know what his own centre forward thought about that, but now he has to find a way. Spain have to find a way to counter Julian Alvarez. So there's lots of lovely little matchups all over the field.
We've heard a lot this morning from Harry Kane talk about mentality was what won them the third, fourth place playoff. We've lambasted the comment, but mentality and that siege mentality does seem to be such a huge thing for this Argentina team. Scaloni has just bred it into these players. It's a historic thing we know for Argentina as well. So could it be the mentality that carries them over the line?
Well, they've got the winning habit, but remember, it was 28 years of hurt. They didn't win a title between 1993 and 2021, and no one was praising their mentality then. But you start winning, and it's a very, very good habit to have, isn't it? I didn't expect them to do this, just because it's so hard to retain the World Cup with the extra knockout round, and the margins of the game are so fine. And Argentina, every knockout game, they've been through 4 rounds of knockout games. When it's pretty much, it's been to the wire every time, and they've always found a way. So their belief is going to be absolutely flying. And what we've seen is they can be 1 goal down, they can be 2 goals down, and they're still very, very much in the game. So it's up to Spain to come out and put them to bed today. And the worry that I would have from a Spain point of view, I think that Argentina would rather face Spain than face France. This is, I think, the deeply frustrating thing from the England point of view. What Argentina really don't want to do And no one likes to defend against pace and power and skill. No one likes defending it. It's hard. But Argentina, I think, defend against it worse than most. You know, they're uncomfortable defending against physicality, players driving at them. And France have got that in spades. And this time they don't have Argentina don't have a Di Maria to kind of as a kind of shock value to take the game away. So I think they would rather face Spain, whose a threat is more cerebral than Argentina than France. And for Spain, I think the potential worry for them is sometimes it's hard for them to translate all of the possession and the territory that they have into goals. I mean, the semi-final against France, well, I thought they were off the scale. It was brilliant. It's fantastic. The best collective performance of the World Cup, I think, by a long way. But on the penalty that they get that kind of conditions the game, it's out of the blue. It's a random moment. You know, it's the first real attack. It's the first time I think Cucurella goes forward. It's a deep cross. It's an overhit cross, and the French left back could have dealt with it. He instead gets himself in a little bit of a mess and gives away an unfortunate penalty. But it's got nothing to do with the context of the game. So I thought that was a little bit of a gift. If there's no gift today, can Spain translate the possession that they've got into goals? Because we know if they can't, then Argentina are always in the game.
Yeah. Great. I mean, look, one standout feature for me as well is you look at both coaches and they've both been through the systems, going, you know, through the national team to the under 18s, 19s, and you know, and Brazil done this. Ancelotti comes in, a proven winner. This proven winner thing that comes from clubs and going into international management, I don't see too much success in all that.
Well, isn't it bizarre? I mean, I'm still scratching my head about this. The Ancelotti substitution when he brings on Neymar just destroys his whole side. It's just bizarre. Honestly,
better or worse than Thomas Tuchel in the last 30 minutes against Argentina, which was the worst set of decisions.
Yeah, you know, it's difficult, and these are the two big name, you know, well-renowned, with total justice, well-renowned coaches who come in and just made incredible blunders with their substitutions. It is really hard to understand. Whereas De La Fuente, when he got the job at Spain, he was mocked. You know, who is this? He's a system guy. He's come up through the system. Do you know that because Scaloni lives in, the Argentina coach, he lives in Spain, and when he was doing his badges and stuff 10 years ago, one of his teachers, De La Fuente. So, you know, they go back a long way. And Scaloni, when he took over, after the 2018 World Cup, Argentina had Sampaoli, the coach, on a long-term contract, a very expensive long-term contract, and he'd just been a disaster. He'd been horrendous. So they sacked him. They didn't have any money. Well, who's around? Who have we got? Well, Scaloni's there. All right, okay. He's very cheap because he hasn't got any senior coaching experience. We'll bring him in. I remember at the time, Diego Maradona just astonished, saying, well, you know, he's a nice lad, this Scaloni, but you wouldn't trust him to direct traffic. And here we are. And how could you couldn't really disagree at the time. And here we are with Argentina having won two versions of the Copa America, one World Cup, and being close to a second World Cup. It did get worse before he got better, because Scaloni, what his role had been in 2018 World Cup, he was an observer of Argentina's opponents, and he came back from that tournament obsessed with France, and he said, what we're going to do with Argentina, we're going to play modern football. That's what France do. That means that we're going to win the ball, and within 4 seconds, we're going to be in a position to shoot. It's rapid transitions. That's the style that we need. That's the style I'm going to implant in Argentina. And you're thinking then, you know, I can imagine someone who doesn't really fit with that style, and his name would be Lionel Messi. And obviously, it didn't work. He was trying to play Mbappe football when he had Messi, and Scaloni was clever enough to realise, you know what, we're not France, are we? We're not going to be France. Hang on a minute. Let's be Argentina. That'll work, and it did, you know. And so they began to form this side, built around the talents of Messi, both tactically, because you know it's what they want to do. They've struggled to do it quite a bit, but what they want to do is keep the ball and pass the ball, and then change the rhythm and get it to Messi between the lines. But also they've done it kind of emotionally. And Messi Messi says this himself. He's quite a strange guy, and he's quite quiet, and he's quite reserved, and he's quite self-contained. And for a long time, that was a problem with Argentina, Because imagine you get called up with Argentina. All you want to do is get praised by Messi. And he doesn't say anything to you. He inhibits players. So finally, Scaloni got him out of his shell. And Messi, who at the time was starting to fight with Barcelona, Messi realised what he had to do, how he had to change to have success with the national team, which had become his priority. And he became like this vocal leader that he'd never been before. He became the leader of the pack. And I remember all of this started to find shape in a Copa America here in Brazil, 2019, when Argentina, they were eliminated in the semi-finals, but they came out of it with a team and with Messi as its leader. And I remember Di Maria, after that competition, he said to the Argentina media, he said, you know what, I like this Messi. Kind of leaving it kind of understood there that the previous Messi hadn't been particularly keen on, you know. So suddenly they had a team and they had a group, and they've been reaping the benefit ever since.
Tim, I could listen to you talk about this all day long. It's a fantastic story, and I'm definitely going to repeat it on the S Word later today because it's brilliant stuff from the wonderful Tim Vickery joining us here on Talk Sport. It is the World Cup weekend breakfast, and I'm going to talk half time with Tony Cascarino up next.
I wasn't overly enamoured with what we were doing anyway. I've spoken freely on this marvellous channel that we're on, and, you know, on talkSPORT regularly, and said, look, it's not as good as what everyone was making out, I didn't think, you know, and that's nothing against the manager, Thomas Tuchel, nothing at all. It's just that I didn't think, you know, I wasn't thinking we were blowing teams away and we were purring, but we were finding a way, and that's equally fair to say. That's a brilliant thing to have, of course, if you're not playing brilliantly, but you're winning games. Now, that's a great habit. We all know that. So I don't think I was too... I try to give balance to my comments about these things, and I didn't think we were magnificent anyway. There was a lot of talk about this feel, and the feel was better. I wasn't having that bit. I was going, oh, come on, do me a favour. And I've spoken freely on, I think it was with Simon and Jim about, you know, Gareth's time, and they were sort of suggesting I was supporting him because I'm his mate and all that. I wasn't. I was just calling it how I think it was. I don't think there was radical change. I had a big debate with Simon about it on their show and said, look, I don't think there is radical change. Simon was saying there is, and he's a master tactician and that's fine, by the way. I've got no problem with people's comments because we're here now talking about it. But I did say on that show, I did say to Simon, I said, Simon, there's nothing radically changed here. You know, if you cut through the noise and you go, in balance to that side of it, which I've been intrigued with, is I do think this is the best opportunity we've ever, certainly in my lifetime, I think it's the best opportunity we've ever had to win the World Cup. Not because we're amazing, but because the other superpowers are not as superpowered as what they were. France were flying. I think we're all shocked by that one because they were the ones who you thought, right, okay, they're what we think they should be, apart from their last game. And equally, you know, you look at them and they are superpowered. And yet, you look at their last game and you go, what?
Good morning. This is the World Cup weekend breakfast. Will Gavin in for Shabanahan and Max Scott because, as I've been joking throughout the show, I am the third place playoff of weekend sports breakfast presenters. The brilliant Tony Cascarino alongside me, and tonight the stars are going to be out. It's the big one out at the New York, New Jersey Stadium. And no, I'm not talking about Leo Messi and Lamine Yamal. I'm talking about Burna Boy, BTS, Justin Bieber, Coldplay, Madonna and Shakira. Tony's close personal friend Shakira, I should say there. We haven't had a chance to talk about this. We've only got a couple of minutes left of the show. You having a halftime show, Tony? You having a half an hour halftime?
Is that what it is tonight?
30 minutes.
It's
surely as a player, that's
out of my comfort zone. Really, I like the old-fashioned 15 minutes. Get the players, but obviously it's in America, so there's going to be a show, and I'm sure it'd be great. maybe I'll enjoy it. Depends what the game's like, really.
I've been reliably told that we're going to dip in and out of it on talkSPORT, but we're going to keep offering halftime analysis, unlike the TV companies here who are going to take the show in full. I am slightly concerned about Stuart Pearce trying to deliver hard analysis while Shakira is soundtracking him in the background, though.
Yeah, it's tricky. Look, it's a bit alien. I mean, I'm trying to think back what it was like in '94 when we was there. I mean, there was certainly adverts going on.
Well, you had the old Diana Ross breaking the crossbar from the penalty when she missed the goal entirely going on, and you had that. It was a dreadful World Cup final, of course, as well. That's the first
no
one
water
I really
breaks.
remember.
I know that.
Yeah, well, and they probably should have been in that heat, but. Look, I, from my perspective, as someone who covers the NFL and has been in those stadiums 11 or 12 times for those halftime shows, they do put on a wonderful spectacle. I just think it's anti-football. I just think it's not the right thing for this. It's perfect for that. And if you want to do a pre-game show, and they are doing one, and Robbie Williams and Tom Cruise and all these other people are turning up for the pre-game.
What's the fees?
But with football, you've got to have. Well, with the NFL, they don't pay them.
Oh, they don't pay them.
The thing is, you're meant to get such a boost to your career by doing it that you do it. For the love of the game.
I always thought they was paid really big money.
No, they're apparently not. Apparently, it is like they're paid like
that you've been
and
done it,
essentially. But it's doing it is the thing. I just think it is anti-football. I think it is. I love the pomp and circumstance. I love when a tournament takes on the character of a nation. I know it's fully American, and I kind of support it for that reason. But I just think 15 minutes is the perfect amount of time to get in, make some tactical changes, let the physio see you, and not have to worry about the health of the players. 30 minutes, allowing the bodies to cool down, coming out after halftime, easily could start very slowly because of it. That's what's disappointing to me, is I just think it might make for a worse game of football.
We'll see.
And with that, we're done. The wonderful Charlie Baker and Max Rushton are coming up next on talkSPORT. Do not forget that the Open is live over on talkSPORT 2 right now, that the World Match Play Darts will be there on the app this afternoon and tonight, but the World Cup final from 6 p.m. at the New York, New Jersey Stadium, live from 8 o'clock kickoff. Thank you for joining us on the Weekend Sports Breakfast, the wonderful Tony Cascarino and me, Gavin.
Made you strong, equal, darling, let's go.
It's 25 minutes. You're playing against Argentina. And you've just gone, here. There you go. Just attack us. Attack v defence.
Do you know what, Jay? I can't believe I'm having this conversation about Tuchel. I cannot believe I'm having this conversation.
Sack him.
It's just rinse and repeat as England. And I don't know whether he looked back on that Mexico game and got drawn into how comfortable he felt. No, Jay, I'm not giving you an answer. I'm trying to find a reason. I'm trying to get into his head. I don't know the answer, Jay. Any more than you. Don't, Jay. I'm trying to find a reason.
But why put Bellingham on the left?
Jay, I don't know.
Why not bring Rashford on?
I don't know.
Why not bring Saka on?
I don't know. I'm trying to get.
What was he thinking?